Chapter 51. The barbaric cow Shadow was incomparably brave as she started to attack the flaming lion head from above. Her fists smashed, her head smashed, her shoulders collided, and her knees kicked. Yu Yang separated a strand of his consciousness to connect with her. On the basis of her instinctive attacks, her movements became more coherent. A series of attacks rained down on the flaming lion head, making it hard for the flaming lion head to find its way to the north. It was a pity that she was still unable to coordinate with Yu Yang's thoughts to use combat skills. At this time, she did not have the giant shadow's 100 times increase in strength, so her damage was limited. Furthermore, even though her true strength far surpassed a bronze-ranked level 3, there was still a huge gap between her and a gold-ranked level 6 king beast strength. Under the flaming lion head's counterattack, her body was severely injured. What gave Yang the biggest headache was that the barbaric cow Shadow did not know pain at all. She did not know how to dodge and completely fought to the end. Very quickly, her bitten body was covered with huge wounds that were so deep that the bones could be seen. Not a single drop of blood flowed out. The barbaric cow Shadow that was still a half-living entity was slightly different from normal beasts. As long as her energy was not depleted, even if the body formed by the barbaric cow Shadow was completely destroyed, she could still fight endlessly. Yu Yang also knew that without the giant Shadow's support, her strength would definitely not be able to defeat the flaming lion head. However, she could still rely on luck. As long as Doom's Eyes was activated during the attack, there was a possibility of reversing the situation. Doom's Eyes might be able to instantly kill this flaming lion head. Hui Tai Lang, you coward. If you don't want my dinner to be roasted wolf leg, go bite the chimeras, but use your claws to stab its anus. Seeing that Hui Tai Lang did not move at all, Yu Yang was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. It was really just watching from the side? Oh, seeing that Yu Yang was angry, Hui Tai Lang hurriedly pounced on him and bit the chimera's front claws that were even thicker than an elephant. It was completely useless, but it also put on an act to show its positivity. Although Yu Yang was angry, he couldn't be bothered to beat it up right now. He focused all of his attention on controlling the barbaric cow Shadow, who was connected to his mind. He tried his best to let her avoid the fatal blow from the blazing lion head's attack. If it wasn't for his control, the barbaric cow Shadow would have been bitten into pieces by the blazing lion head in less than 3 minutes. After little one Li froze the dragon's head, she didn't go forward to help. Instead, she closed her eyes and silently gathered her spiritual energy. Yu Yang guessed that she was preparing to summon her grimoire or unleash an ultimate skill. His mind didn't dare to disturb her, and he tried his best to let her mind freely immerse in a peaceful meditation. This little snake demon Loli could always give him endless surprises. Who knew what kind of shocking action she would do next? Yu Yang was feeling happy, but he didn't expect a crisis to break out. Faster than a winged wolf and more cunning than a fox, a long black shadow silently approached. By the time Yu Yang realized it, this long black shadow had already swam towards little Wenli like a bolt of lightning. What the hell? Yu Yang was extremely anxious. He instinctively raised his hand, wanting to use an innate invisible sword chi to block it. But he forgot that he couldn't attack. Not only did he not save her in time, he also wasted the best time to react. At this critical moment, Hui Tai Lang's figure appeared. It rushed out of nowhere and blocked in front of little one Li. It, who usually bullied the weak and feared the strong, and was greedy for life and death, threw itself at the strangely long and huge black shadow without any regard for its own safety. Before it could even open its mouth to bite the other party, the black shadow opened its bloody mouth and swallowed it whole. Damn, Hui Tai Lang is finished. Only then did Yu Yang see clearly that it was actually a giant snake. Not only did the three-headed chimera have 3 heads, it also had a giant snake tail. This snake was several times bigger than the largest giant python Yu Yang had seen on Earth, the forest boa. Its neck was so small that even a grown man wouldn't be able to wrap his arms around it. Hui Tai Lang was not even enough to fill the gap between its teeth. Yu Yang couldn't do it himself, so he could only order the injured barbaric cow Shadow to rush over. hoping that she could use brute force to stall this giant snake. If he let little Wunli chop it in half, she might be able to save Hui Tai Lang, who had just swallowed it. The barbaric cow shadow rushed closer, but that giant snake's reaction was extremely fast. It coiled its body and immediately coiled around her tightly, causing the barbaric cow shadow's body to creak. If it was a normal beast, such a strong strangulation would have killed it long ago. Fortunately, the barbaric cow shadow was only a half-living entity. Even if her body was deformed and her bones were broken, she could still attack without a care. Yu Yang saw that the barbaric cow shadow's mouth and nose were like the bronze barbaric cows when it attacked in the past, spitting out a ball of fire. Following that, a red light flashed in her eyes. Thus, under Yu Yang's surprise, the luck that he'd been saving up finally exploded. Doom's eyes was finally activated. The giant snake that was tightly coiled around the barbaric cow shadow cried out in pain. It fell to the ground powerlessly, its whole body twitching nonstop. Yu Yang opened his eyes wide, his heart shocked. What was going on? This snake actually didn't die? It looked like it had only suffered a heavy injury and was on the verge of death, but it wasn't instantly killed on the spot. Could it be that a powerful beast that was a few levels higher than it could withstand Doom's eyes? Or could it be that the Golden King beast itself had the ability to withstand Doom's eyes? Yu Yang discovered that what was even more shocking was that after the chimera giant snake fell to the ground, other than the frozen dragon head, the other two heads didn't show any signs of pain, as if they weren't affected at all. That white sheep head continued to stare at Yu Yang calmly. Its eyes were extremely calm, causing Yu Yang to feel slightly uneasy. Something was wrong. This white sheep head was too quiet. On the other hand, the blazing lion head roared and bit towards the barbaric cow shadow. This three-headed chimera giant snake was only a giant snake. The other heads weren't affected at all. Could it be that their souls were completely different, and each head had a soul? Yu Yang couldn't understand. At this moment, the diamond grimoire that little Wunli summoned flashed with a dazzling golden light. Within the golden light, a terrifying monster with a head full of snake hair, a human body and a snake tail, holding a silver bow and a golden arrow was summoned. The moment it appeared, it immediately shot an arrow into the blazing lion head's left eye. The blazing lion head roared in pain and immediately turned around to attack. That terrifying monster's head, full of snake hair, all moved, revealing the face behind the snake hair. The blazing lion head was instantly petrified, all the way to its neck, completely turning into a black-gray rock statue. Even the golden arrow that was pierced into its eye was turned into a stone arrow. Stone element Medusa, wow, too strong. Yu Yang was so excited that he jumped 3 feet. Little Wunli had 4 guardian beasts, and one of them was this stone element Medusa. Little Wunli had never summoned one before. Yu Yang thought that she didn't have enough spiritual energy to summon one. He didn't expect that she had enough spiritual energy to summon one. However, just one stone element Medusa was enough to shock the entire audience. The blazing lion head that was beaten up by the barbaric cow shadow previously was completely unscathed, but this brat with copper skin and iron bones was petrified the moment the stone element Medusa appeared. The stone element Medusa knocked an arrow towards the white sheep head, preparing to shoot the second arrow. However, little Wunli groaned softly and fell to the ground, unable to support herself. When Yu Yang hurriedly carried her up, that stone element Medusa didn't have time to shoot the second arrow. Her body turned into a ray of golden light and returned to the diamond grimoire. Little Wunli was still an infant. It was still too difficult for her to summon a beast as strong as the stone element Medusa. Seeing Yu Yang's anxious expression, little Wunli opened her big eyes that could speak. She didn't say anything, but her little face revealed a sweet smile. She swam down from his embrace and quickly swam to the side of the giant snake that was lying limp on the ground. She waved her dual icicle blades and cut the snake's body. The barbaric cow shadow searched the snake's stomach for a long time before she found the dying Hui Tai Lang covered in acid. Luckily, you didn't die. I knew that a cockroach like you wouldn't die so easily." Seeing that Hui Tai Lang was saved, Yu Yang pretended that he didn't care on the surface, but he was still very excited in his heart. Although Hui Tai Lang was a scumbag, bullying the weak and afraid of the strong, it was very obedient and listened to everything Yu Yang said. Its temper was also not bad. No matter how Yu Yang kicked it, it still looked like a loyal lackey. As a beast without a contract, to be able to do this was already very good. If it was other beasts without a contract, they would have long betrayed the three-headed chimera when they saw a Gold King beast like this three-headed chimera. However, Hui Tai Lang could still bravely step forward and disregard its own safety to save little Wen Li. This made Yu Yang's impression of it change greatly. Meh meh meh. The white sheep head suddenly cried out. "Something's wrong, be careful." Yu Yang had a bad feeling about the white sheep head. Seeing that it finally moved, he immediately carried little Wen Li. The barbarian cow Shadow, who was riddled with wounds, also carried the dying Hui Tai Lang on her shoulders and followed closely behind Yu Yang. The white sheep head shot out a gentle white light from its mouth and sprayed it onto the snake tail that had been cut in two. Under Yu Yang's flabbergasted gaze, the snake tail that had been cut off quickly grew new heads, and two of them at that. Wherever the white light passed, the petrified, blazing lion head and the frozen dragon head were released from their petrification in ice. The wounds inflicted by little Wen Li and the barbarian cow Shadow also quickly recovered. Yu Yang was almost powerless as he watched. How could they play with people like this? He had finally beaten this three-headed chimera half to death with much difficulty, but he didn't expect it to completely recover with just a ray of white light. Who could win against this kind of abnormal monster? Just as Yu Yang was about to fly into a rage and scold Tong Tian Tower, this godly gaming company, for being abnormal and heartless, and was about to protest, he suddenly saw the three-headed chimera spread its huge wings that covered the sky. With a flap, a strong gust of wind blew, and in the blink of an eye, it soared into the sky and disappeared without a trace on the battlefield. Only a large section of the snake head and a small golden item were left. It was the golden bell that was originally hanging on the white sheep head's neck. What did this mean? Could it be that this was an equipment dropped after killing the monster? But the boss wasn't killed. There was still a reward for not killing the boss. What kind of treasure was this golden bell? Chapter 52. What was the use of this golden bell? Why did it drop? Yu Yang thought for a long time, but still couldn't figure it out. However, when he reacted, he immediately rushed over and picked up the golden bell. Although he didn't know what it was used for, he was sure that it was a treasure. It was slightly heavy in his hand, and he felt that the golden bell was full of energy. Furthermore, it contained a mysterious power. At this time, Yu Yang's divine vision was finally put to good use. What was the use of this treasure? Yu Yang had been concentrating on it for a long time. Under Yu Yang's unremitting perseverance, he finally saw through most of the golden bell's characteristics. At this moment, other than the knowledge related to the golden bell surging into his mind, there was also a kind of enlightenment in his heart, as if he was enlightened. Yu Yang's entire spiritual world was shaken, and his mind unknowingly broadened. He felt that the world was boundless, and he could fly as he wished. That kind of feeling was very wonderful, and there was an indescribable feeling of being touched. It was like drinking a bowl of warm soup when one was hungry and cold. It was so comfortable that one's body and mind were scalded. It was also like a window suddenly opened in a hot and suffocating environment, allowing fresh air to flow in, followed by cool ice water pouring over one's entire body, releasing one's entire body from a hopeless situation. If one were to use one word to describe it, it would be refreshing. When Yu Yang opened his eyes, he felt that his vision had become much clearer. Even some of the details that he couldn't see before could be seen clearly. Some of the aura fluctuations of living beings that he would normally ignore could now be easily detected with his eyes. The bronze grimoire had unknowingly appeared. Yu Yang flipped to the front page to take a look. As expected, Divine Vision had leveled up. Divine Vision had leveled up from level 1 to level 2. Actually, during the battle at Whitestone City's Merry Forest, When Wu Yi had summoned the bronze barbaric bull and used Doom's eyes to stare at Yu Yang's phantom shadow, his divine vision had leveled up once, but it hadn't leveled up. Now that he had seen through it for the second time, his divine vision had finally leveled up, making Yu Yang secretly happy. Yu Yang felt that his divine vision had been greatly strengthened, and he had even awakened a special skill. However, he did not have the opportunity to use it, so he did not know what it was. On the blank page of the summoning grimoire, perhaps it was because the divine vision inherent skill had leveled up, or perhaps it was because the bronze grimoire had leveled up to intermediate level. The golden bell, this mysterious item's innate attributes could actually appear through words on the blank page. Yu Yang took a look. There was still a slight difference from what he had sensed. Golden bell, beast accessory, light attribute, gold ranked, triple curse seal, evaluation, 1-star gold. In Yu Yang's mind, what he had seen with his divine vision was another strange term, runic equipment, compared to the summoning grimoire. Perhaps it was because the bronze grimoire's level was not high enough, its functions were not complete, so it was unable to display everything. Since it was a beast accessory, Yu Yang passed the golden bell to little one Li. The little lamia lowly took it and shook it a few times with her hands. She found that other than the crisp sound, there was nothing fun about it. She cutely blinked her big eyes a few times and returned it to Yu Yang. Obviously, she did not like this golden bell very much. Could it be that you think that gold ranked is not awesome enough and still want a diamond ranked treasure? Yu Yang sweated profusely. Even this golden bell had taken a lot of effort to get. This Tong Tian Tower was abnormal in every aspect. Not to mention that there were too many monsters. The boss was so strong that it made people speechless. How could it be so easy to get equipment? When Yu Yang saw that little one Li did not want it, he thought that if this thing was hung on the barbarian cow Shadow's neck, it would not be too bad. Compared to little one Li's uninterested attitude, the barbarian cow Shadow showed a completely different attitude. The barbarian cow Shadow did not have any thoughts, but her instincts drove her to immediately take it. When she took it, the golden bell instantly shone with a white light, turning into a rain of light, which scattered into the barbarian cow Shadow's broken body. Yu Yang then realized that this golden bell actually had the special healing effect of holy light. The golden bell's healing effect was really awesome. After a while, the barbarian cow Shadow's bone-deep wounds gradually became lighter and finally disappeared. Even the half-dead Hui Tai Lang, who was lying on the ground, weakly stood up. Although it still looked a little weak, it had already recovered a little bit of its wolf-like appearance. Hui Tai Lang stood up and immediately pounced towards the half-snake head, biting and swallowing it with hatred. It seemed that Hui Tai Lang was a narrow-minded and vengeful wolf. Compared to the vengeful, backstabbing Yu Yang, he was not much better. Yu Yang felt that he should go and take a look at the wall on the right. There was still a blindness rune there. Although he did not have the time to look for it when he fought the three-headed chimera, now that the three-headed chimera had left, he could not let it go no matter what. As for the silencing scepter, it was a one-time consumable item. After 10 minutes, it, which had lost all of its energy, completely shattered and fell to the ground, turning into scrap metal that was even more brittle than biscuits. On the right side of the hall, there was also a group of sheephead warriors. They were more durable than the sheephead priest, but with the barbarian cow Shadow and little one Li, the battle ended very quickly. What made Yu Yang surprised was that there was no need to guess the riddle in the right side hall. The blindness rune was very obviously floating above an energy cauldron. Could it be a trap? Yu Yang, who had experienced many trials, became a little suspicious. He felt that this was too easy. He searched carefully in the hall and found 5.5 broken skulls, a few broken rusted weapons, a few arrowheads, and a silver ring. The silver ring was already distorted and deformed. It did not have any energy. Yu Yang threw it away in disappointment. Finally, he looked at the energy cauldron. To store or take out an item, you'll need to pay 1 gold coin as an energy supply. The sentence was engraved on the energy cauldron. When Yu Yang saw this, he immediately pointed his middle finger at it. Isn't this bullying the poor? Who would be so stupid to put an item inside? Isn't this a waste of money? That's not right. If we could store items here, wouldn't it be like this? For example, if a certain clan's ranker came in and put a super divine weapon inside, then the next time, they could let their clan's low-leveled younger generation use it to kill a boss. Thinking of this, Yu Yang's saliva almost flowed out. Isn't it just one gold coin? This young master has money. Yu Yang first put the blindness rune into his bosom, and then threw a gold coin into the energy cauldron. A burst of light appeared from within the cauldron, and a letter slowly floated in the place where the blindness rune was. This letter was as good as new. The ink on the letter was still wet, and the bloodstains, handprints, and fingerprints could be seen clearly. Letter. Not seeing the divine weapon float out, Yu Yang was a little disappointed. Unwilling to give up, he threw a few gold coins into the energy cauldron, but all he got were letters or parchments. There were also wedding rings and daggers, and finally, there was an unhatched beast egg. He had wasted 15 gold coins, but he couldn't even see the shadow of the divine weapon. Yu Yang felt that he had suffered a huge loss this time. Opening the letter, the contents were almost all wills. Yu Yang glanced at them a few times. They were all written in hopes that their descendants would see these letters and pass them a message or a relic. They were all the same, and there was nothing that caught Yu Yang's interest. There was only one letter, and the owner wrote arrogantly, "Do you want my treasure? If you want it, I can give it to you. Go look for it in the Death Canyon. Any item, if taken out, would make people go crazy." When Yu Yang saw it, he cried out weirdly, "Damn, do you think you're the Pirate King Gold, Roger?" But this guy not only had a parchment map, he even had an egg that could be rated as a 5-star lesser beast egg as proof. It really seemed like that was the case. What kind of place was the Death Canyon? Although Yu Yang had only been in the soaring dragon continent for a few months, he had long heard of that place. The Death Canyon had another name, the Ranker's Graveyard. It was a place where even a level 6 elder would turn pale at the mention of. Could it be that there really was a treasure in the Death Canyon? When he thought of the treasure that was filled with gold, with treasures piled on top of the gold, and most of the treasures were divine weapons, and in the middle of the divine weapons, there was even a beautiful female dragon lying naked, waiting for him to comfort her. Oh my God! As Yu Yang fantasized like this, his little heart couldn't help but beat faster and faster. Chapter 53. To Yu Yang, the hidden treasure map was definitely safe. He was quite satisfied with the rewards from this trip. Not only did he get the golden bell, the blindness rune, and the hidden treasure map, he even leveled up his divine vision. Actually, this was the thing that made him the happiest. It must be known that one of Yu Yang's greatest wishes was to level up his divine vision inherent skill to its limit and develop the ability to see through girls' clothes. The only thing that made his heart ache was that in order to obtain this hidden treasure map, he had spent a total of 15 gold coins on the energy cauldron. This made the Yu clan's third young master, who was originally a millionaire, feel a little bankrupt. After walking out of the arena, Yu Yang found Hui Tai Lang rolling on the ground, looking like he was in pain. Could it be that this fellow was trying to vent his anger, turning his grief and anger into appetite and eating too much? Upon closer inspection, he realized that this was not the case. The demonic energy in Hui Tai Lang's body had become more compatible with its body after fighting. Furthermore, with the gold-ranked level 6 Chimera Snake's meat as nourishment, Hui Tai Lang had benefited from the disaster and leveled up. From a bronze-ranked level 3 Ironback Demonic Wolf, it leveled up to bronze-ranked level 4. Of course, leveling up was not the reason for its pain. Yu Yang saw that Hui Tai Lang was choking and thought that the snake bone was stuck in its throat. He opened Hui Tai Lang's mouth and saw a green crystal that was bigger than a fist stuck in its throat. This was a magic crystal? Where did it come from? When Yu Yang saw that Hui Tai Lang had dug a hole in the snake's forehead, he suddenly realized something. He was furious and kicked the greedy dog. "Hui Tai Lang, how dare you? I fought so hard to defeat this snake monster, yet you dare to steal my magic crystal? This is the first time I've gotten something like a magic crystal. You, on the other hand, had your eyes on it without saying a word. You deserve to choke to death." With a flying kick from Yu Yang, Hui Tai Lang's entire body was sent flying more than 10 meters away. With a pung sound, Hui Tai Lang fell heavily onto the ground. However, this saved Hui Tai Lang as the green crystal finally fell out of its throat. Grey Wolf had narrowly escaped death, so he didn't dare to have any ideas about the giant snake's magic crystal anymore. He hurriedly crawled up and brought the giant snake's magic crystal back to Yu Yang. When he saw that there was his own saliva on it, he quickly licked it clean and finally revealed a sincere expression to his master that said, "I just wanted to try what it tasted like." As for Grey Wolf, Yu Yang felt both angry and amused. If Yu Yang had come out 10 minutes later, this fellow would probably be the first beast in the entire soaring dragon continent to be choked to death by greed before it could even rejoice in leveling up. It was lucky. If he had studied the treasure map first in the side chamber, it would have died. After killing all the monsters and collecting all the treasures, Yu Yang happily prepared to retreat. Suddenly, he slapped his forehead. Ah, there's still the proof of clearing the stage. Yu Yang crossed the arena and walked towards the secret door that was opened when the three-headed chimera left. When he looked closer, he realized that this secret door also had a time limit. Yu Yang realized that he had wasted too much time in the right chamber. There wasn't much time left before the secret door would close again. He hurriedly ran as fast as he could. The light inside the secret door was very soft and bright, but not blinding. At the end, there were two beautiful statues of God's envoys. One was using a gorgeous golden plate to hold a ball that was emitting a soft white light. The other was blindfolded, with her left hand on her heart and her right hand holding a golden scale. Yu Yang first placed his crystal card on one side of the scale. When he realized that there wasn't any reaction, he moved it to the other side. After the crystal card was placed on the left side of the golden scale, it immediately emitted a rainbow light. The white ball that was held by the golden plate quickly lit up and shot two beams of white light towards the barbarian Cow Shadow and Hui Tai Lang. The beam of white light that was shot towards the barbarian Cow Shadow was a few times bigger than Hui Tai Lang's. When the barbarian Cow Shadow and Hui Tai Lang were bathed in the white light, the white ball that was held by the golden plate dimmed down. In the end, it became a huge crystal ball that had run out of energy. Yu Yang greedily reached out his hands, wanting to take this crystal ball away. However, he realized that it was fixed by the power of the code. He couldn't move it no matter how hard he tried. Time was limited. If the secret door was closed, who knew what would happen? Yu Yang didn't want to be imprisoned in this secret room for the rest of his life. He reached out his hands to grab the crystal card and immediately turned to leave. When he returned to the teleportation circle that he came from, Yu Yang heaved a sigh of relief. He felt that he wasn't mentally prepared for this challenge. At first, he came here with the mentality of playing around, but in the end, he was in danger everywhere. However, after this ignorant and fearless challenge, he had gained a lot of experience. If he were to challenge it again, he would probably be able to face it calmly. Looking at the battle results and points on the crystal card, Yu Yang smiled. The 12 Zodiac Temples was really the most difficult challenge. It was so difficult that it made people go crazy. However, after clearing it, the battle points were also very high. Yu Yang looked at the bronze cards of Yi Kong, Li Xie, and Li Ge. He realized that the battle points they had accumulated for a few years was not even as much as his battle points. As for the reward for clearing it, what was that white light? Yu Yang summoned his grimoire. When he saw that the other abilities of the barbarian Cow Shadow had not changed, except for the additional attribute of low intelligence, he was so surprised that he thought that he was dreaming. Among the countless beasts in the world, what was the hardest ability to improve? Without a doubt, it was intelligence. Why would beasts that transformed into humans have such a high evaluation? The reason was that transforming into humans would allow them to gain intelligence at the same time. Why was it that some beasts that were not weak and far stronger than other beasts of the same level had such a low evaluation of them, calling them beasts that worked hard? The reason was that they were stupid and had no intelligence. Intelligence was also a standard valuation for beasts to evolve. The higher the intelligence, the greater the potential for evolution, the faster the evolution speed, and the more skills they could evolve. The biggest difference between mythical beasts and holy beasts and normal beasts was that mythical beasts had high intelligence, while normal beasts had no such thing. In other words, it was like the difference between a human and a monkey. The barbarian cow Shadow originally had no intelligence. She only knew how to fight her enemies head-on. After clearing the Ares temple, the ancient code's reward was to increase her intelligence. Of course, this made Yu Yang wild with joy. With intelligence, she would be able to understand his orders more easily, understand his meaning more easily, and coordinate with his mind more easily. With intelligence, he should be able to teach her some simple combat skills. Keep all the treasures, we can't let others see it. Yu Yang did not care about others, but he was afraid that the embroidered clothed city Mistress Fallen Flowers would see it. This city Mistress Fallen Flowers gave people a dangerous feeling. Although she was not as dangerous as the big-breasted beauty he met in the Shangwu camp, this girl was obviously not easy to deal with. Her identity was also a city mistress. In the soaring dragon continent, where the strong preyed on the weak and the strong ruled, the position of city mistress and lord was usually held by a level 6 elder. In other words, this city mistress Fallen Flowers, this embroidered clothed girl, would at least be a level 6 elder. Among all the rankers in the soaring dragon continent, she would probably be one of the few. If Yu Yang didn't have any treasures on him, it wouldn't matter. But now that he had obtained treasures, he had to be careful. He didn't want to let her guess his true, hidden strength through the treasures he had obtained. After teleporting out, Yu Yang didn't see the embroidered clothed city Mistress Fallen Flowers. Instead, he saw Yi Kong and the others looking at him as if a miracle had descended from the heavens. "You didn't die?" Yi Kong asked stupidly. "Nonsense." Yu Yang snorted unhappily. "You really didn't die? How? How is this possible?" The golden armor captain's mouth opened so wide that a three-headed chimera could be stuffed inside. Yu Yang was speechless. He was speechless at these people's exaggerated reactions. He asked curiously, "Why are so many people fine when they win in a challenge, but I would definitely die when I win a challenge?" Because none of the level 5 warriors who went into challenge were able to come out alive after 2 hours. "You are the first." "Ah, no, you're only a level 1 apprentice, not a level 5 grandmaster. Can you tell us, what were you doing in there for 3 hours? You couldn't have been chatting with the three-headed chimera, right?" The golden armor captain had the urge to smash his head against the wall. This was because his previous challenge record was to escape unscathed in half an hour. He was usually very arrogant and often boasted to others. He didn't expect that today, an apprentice would easily surpass him. "That's right, what were you doing in there?" Everyone's curiosity exploded as they surrounded Yu Yang, watching him inhumanely. Seeing everyone's expression, Yu Yang decided to tell a big lie. Chapter 54. Everyone looked at Yu Yang expectantly. Who would have thought that one sentence from Yu Yang would make them all fall to the ground? "Actually, I didn't do anything inside. I just slept. How did 3 hours pass so quickly?" Yu Yang pretended to look at everyone innocently. The golden armor captain really wanted to strangle him to death when he saw how annoying he was. Of all places to sleep, he had to sleep in the 12 zodiac temples. Just by sleeping in the Ares temple, he had broken the record that he had fought a bloody battle and almost lost his life to break. Was there anyone more despicable than this brat in the world? "You didn't go in and take a look?" Yi Kong was confused. Was this Yu Clan's third young master not curious at all? Did he not want to go in and take a look at the three-headed chimera? "I went in, but I couldn't come out. I was bored, so I slept in there." Yu Yang lied without batting an eyelid. "Impossible." A golden armor guard beside the golden armor captain denied loudly. "If you went in, you would have been swallowed by the three-headed chimera. How could you have come out alive?" A mercenary leader who bet that Yu Yang would definitely die shook his head in disbelief. Even if there was a 10-minute barrier, you couldn't have stayed in there for 3 hours. This is definitely impossible. The 10-minute barrier was enough for me to go in and take a stroll. As for the three-headed chimera, it didn't care about me at all. I also didn't care about it. Everyone slept separately. Yu Yang's lying skills were very good. He said it as if it was the truth. "What does the three-headed chimera look like?" Another golden armor guard asked suspiciously. Left dragon head, middle lion head, right goat head, and a snake tail. Oh right, under the white goat head's neck, there was also a golden bell. When Yu Yang lied, there were lies in the truth and lies in the truth. Normal people couldn't tell the difference at all. Although everyone was suspicious, no one could find a flaw in his words. They couldn't even find a single flaw. How did you come out afterwards? A bald mercenary asked. Grey Wolf lured those sheep-headed monsters. At the entrance of the passageway, the sheep-headed monsters didn't dare to enter because they were afraid of the three-headed chimera. Grey Wolf bit them to death one by one, then lured the war puppets away, and I came out. However, because its work efficiency is extremely low, I slept for quite a while, and it still hasn't cleared the passageway. I'm so bored waiting for it. As soon as Yu Yang said this, everyone wanted to vomit blood. So this kid really went into sleep, and everything was done by his pet wolf. Liar, it's impossible for a single wolf to kill all of the sheephead monsters. There are dozens of them. A warrior who had lost a bet shouted. How can you prove that you slept inside and not at the teleportation formation? Someone questioned. No matter what, it's good that you're out. Yikong didn't care where Yu Yang was sleeping, as long as this Yu clan's third young master was fine. If he died, the Yu clan would definitely not let him off. His parents might even lose their lives. In the 3 hours that Yu Yang didn't come out, his heart was constantly tormented. He even had the intention to commit suicide. Now that this third young master was safe and sound, Yikong could finally put down the heavy burden in his heart. We've already played in the 12 zodiac temples. Let's go back. Li Jie and Li Gu were so scared that they broke out in cold sweat. They hurriedly advised Yu Yang to leave this place. Yes, we should go back. Yikong also hurriedly agreed. They mustn't let this young master enter the 12 zodiac temples again. That was really unbearable. He didn't want to experience that kind of fear and torment again. Stop right there. All of you stop right there. You guys purposely teamed up to cheat us. A mercenary group leader whose eyes were red from losing money shouted angrily. The ones who made the bet were you guys. It has nothing to do with us. Moreover, we're challenging the 12 zodiac temples. Why did you guys come and join the fun? Why do you care what we do? We'll like to go in and sleep, can't we? Yikong was also furious. Just now, these fellows have been mocking and ridiculing them. Their faces were extremely hateful. Now that the Yu clan's third young master had unexpectedly come out, they actually dared to use sleeping and cheating money to talk about it. Do they still have any face? A person could be shameless, but not to this extent. When the surrounding mercenaries heard this, their faces all became embarrassed. Indeed, the matter of the bet was initiated by this group of people. It really had nothing to do with this brat. However, this matter couldn't be settled carelessly. They had to get to the bottom of it. Otherwise, the people who won wouldn't feel at ease, and the people who lost wouldn't be convinced. Among the surrounding people, the mercenary group leader who had lost the most money laughed coldly. Let's make another bet. I bet that when he entered, he only slept beside the teleportation circle. He didn't enter the Ares temple at all. Who wants a bet with me? I bet 2 gold coins. Although everyone knew that Yu Yang had entered for 3 hours, he didn't sleep beside the teleportation circle. Whether he entered the Ares temple or not, they really didn't dare to bet. The golden armor captain frowned slightly. Only he, who had challenged the Ares temple many times, knew a little secret. If one didn't enter the Ares temple within half an hour, any challenger would be expelled from the 12 zodiac temples. It was impossible for them to shamelessly stay in the Ares temple. Within half an hour, if one didn't clear the war puppets and sheephead monsters and didn't enter the Ares temple, then it would be considered as a failure. He could confirm that the young man in front of him had entered the Ares temple. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to stay inside for 3 hours. Of course, as the guard captain of the 12 Zodiac Temple's teleportation gate, he wouldn't reveal this secret. I'll bet with you. Yu Yang smiled brightly. Do you dare to bet? If the embroidered clothed city Mistress Fallen Flowers was here, Yu Yang wouldn't care about these boring mercenaries. However, she wasn't here, so Yu Yang decided to use this opportunity to trample on these arrogant mercenaries. If they were to go crazy, that would be even better. He could also show Hui Tai Lang his might and groom it to become his #1 fighter in front of others. The bronze-ranked level 4 Hui Tai Lang definitely wouldn't be able to fight against the three-headed chimera. However, it was more than enough to fight against these mercenaries' beasts. If you have the guts, take out the evidence. You entered the Ares temple and defeated the sheep-head monsters. Do you have their weapons? What evidence do you have? If you have a handle in your pants, take it out. The mercenary leader saw that Yu Yang was empty-handed and felt that he had a high chance of winning. This was because even if this brat really entered the Ares temple, he might not have brought any evidence. Of course I have the guts. I wonder if you have the guts? If you have the guts, then increase the bet to 10 gold. How about that? Yu Yang smiled like a little fox. The mercenary leader felt a little guilty. 10 gold was not a small amount. What if this brat really had evidence? There are many people who brag in this world, but there are very few people who have the guts. Yu Yang looked at the mercenary leader with disdain. His expression was like an emperor looking at a eunuch. That kind of disdain was really unbearable. The mercenary leader and his team members all had the urge to hack this brat to death. Leader, we can't take this lying down. Let's bet with him. This brat is too arrogant. If we don't teach him a lesson, he will think that he is #1 in the world. A few mercenaries were so angry that they cried out. They took the initiative to pool their money and hand it over to the mercenary leader. They swore that they would fight to the death with Yu Yang. No matter what, they would bet until the end. People lived in this world to fight for their dignity. If they were looked down upon by others, if they didn't do something, could they still be called men? Although 10 gold was a lot, they could still pool their money together. Even if they used all their wealth, they would still fight with this brat. Among the surrounding mercenaries, not everyone was so impulsive. More people did not participate in this matter and only stood at the side to watch the show. They could even lend money to the mercenary leader to bet, but for them to raise the stakes, this was definitely impossible. What a joke. A powerful person who stayed in the Ares temple for 3 hours before coming out wanted to bet with him? Regardless of whether he challenged the three-headed chimera or killed the sheep-head monster, even if he slept for 3 hours inside, it was still a skill. How many years had it been in the 12 zodiac temples? Who had ever heard of a powerful person who could sleep for 3 hours inside? Nope, only this little thief. I will be the witness. The golden armor captain did not need Yu Yang to take out the evidence. He knew that this little thief would definitely win. He was afraid that the mercenaries would not accept it. So he took the initiative to be the witness. Take it out. Take out the evidence. How can you prove that you enter the Ares temple? The mercenary leader shouted aggressively. He saw that Yu Yang did not have anything on him, so he felt that he might not have any evidence. Even if he did, he could act shamelessly and say that it wasn't. After all, no one had seen the items in the Ares temple. If he insisted that it wasn't, who could prove that it was? Yu Yang stretched out his hand, and a strange rune crystal stone that emitted a faint white light appeared in his hand. Everyone did not know about treasures, so they did not understand. What is this? When the golden armor captain saw it, he sucked in a breath of cold air. Heavens, you actually obtained the blindness rune? How did you get it? This is the blindness rune? Everyone looked at each other in dismay. No one dared to believe that Yu Yang could obtain the blindness rune that was said to be guarded by more than 10 sheephead warriors. Wasn't he just an apprentice? Furthermore, this brat's beast was the world's worst thorny flower. How could he obtain the blindness rune? Impossible, it's a lie. He must be using some trick to trick us. He must have bought this blindness rune from somewhere else and used it as a scam to lure us into it. I don't believe it. I won't believe it even if I die. The mercenary leader bellowed in exasperation. He looked like a gorilla that had failed to copulate continuously and was looked down upon by his companions. Shut up. This blindness rune is unique to the 12 zodiac temples. It can only be used in Tong Tian Tower. Once it is taken out of Tong Tian Tower, it will immediately turn into a normal stone. You have lost. Leave the 10 gold behind. The golden armor captain sneered, interrupting the mercenary leader's hysterical howl. This is impossible. It's impossible for him to obtain the blindness rune. He is just a level 1 novice trash. How is this possible? He is a liar. He definitely is. The mercenary leader's heart was bleeding. He could not accept the truth in front of his eyes. You have lost. If you don't leave the 10 gold behind, I will leave your head behind. The golden armor captain warned. Although I don't understand how he obtained the blindness rune, this is the truth. Furthermore, warriors who can obtain any of the treasures in the Ares temple's left and right halls are all honorable challengers. They are all worthy of the respect of everyone. Now that this young man has obtained the blindness rune, it proves that he is even more outstanding than me when I pass the trials. If you dare to insult him again, I will kill you. The golden armor captain's gaze was as sharp as a sword, his killing intense sword, scaring the mercenaries to the point that they shivered. Isn't it just 10 gold? Beggars, take it as a tip from me. Yu Yong pretended to be an obedient child after he finished. He passed a stack of letters, rings and daggers to the golden armor captain. I obtained these from the energy cauldron. They are all the challenger's wills. In order to obtain these, I used up all my savings. That's why I decided to make a bet with them. I won some money and hired someone to deliver the wills. Since this guy refused to pay up, then forget it. I'll have to trouble Captain to pass these wills to their families. When the golden armor captain received the wills, his hands started to tremble, especially when he saw the wedding ring. His tiger-like eyes were filled with tears. He said to Yu Yong emotionally, "The owner of this ring, this challenger, was my older brother. He died in battle 10 years ago. I have always wanted to pass through the right hall and obtain his belongings, but I was not strong enough. I could not fulfill my wish even after 10 years. On behalf of my sister-in-law and my nephew who will never see his father again, I thank you." He brought along 5 golden armor guards and gave Yu Yong a military salute. After a long time, Yu Yong smiled and prepared to slip away. That mercenary leader shouted in despair, "Stop right there. I want to make another bet with you. I want to duel with you. We'll decide the winner in one battle." "Idiot, you can't even defeat Hui Tai Lang. Don't embarrass yourself anymore." Hearing this, Yi Kong laughed coldly and mercilessly mocked. "Your battle wolf is a normal level 4 battle wolf, while Hui Tai Lang is a bronze-ranked level 4 ironback demonic wolf. Bronze-ranked beasts are at least 1 level stronger than normal beasts of the same level. Do you think that normal level 4 battle wolf of yours would dare to raise its head in front of Hui Tai Lang? Hui Tai Lang, stand up and let them see. Look, this guy's battle wolf will be so scared that it will pee itself." "Oh, woo." Hui Tai Lang, who had been lying on the ground pretending to be an obedient child, stood up. Only then did everyone realize that this wolf was actually a pervert. It usually did not make any noise and looked like a lowly pet dog. Who would have thought that when its eyes revealed an ominous glint, all the beasts beside the mercenaries retreated in panic? Some low-level beasts were even so scared that they lay on the ground, not daring to move. Hui Tai Lang howled towards the sky. The mercenary leader's battle wolf immediately lowered its head and tucked its tail between its legs to show its submission. Yu Yong immediately gave Hui Tai Lang a kick. "What are you being so arrogant for? Can't you be more low-key? There are no girls now. Wait until there are beauties, then you can put on a good show for me." Everyone immediately fainted. He was still willing to kick a bronze-ranked level 4 ironback demonic wolf. Was this brat crazy? Yi Kong, Li Xie, and Li Gu were already used to it, so they pretended not to see it. "You said that bronze-ranked beasts are 1 level stronger than normal-ranked beasts of the same level. What do you mean? Then how much stronger are silver-ranked and gold-ranked beasts compared to normal-ranked beasts?" Yu Yong had never gone to school before, so he did not know much about the common knowledge of beasts. He was afraid that Yu Bing would be suspicious, so he did not dare to ask her about these common knowledge. If the pitiful guy already knew about these basic common knowledge, then he would give himself away if he asked. Yu Yong obviously knew that bronze-ranked beasts were stronger than normal-ranked beasts, and gold-ranked and silver-ranked beasts were stronger than bronze-ranked beasts. However, he really did not know how much stronger they were. How is the strength of beasts defined? Chapter 55. Everyone was extremely speechless towards Yu Yong. They really could not imagine that there was someone in this world who did not know the limits of a beast's strength. Forget about adults. Even an 8-year-old child would know about this. However, Yi Kong had a different feeling. He felt that the reason why the Yu clan's third young master was called trash was not because he was trash, but because the world had misunderstood him. Perhaps this third young master was usually too engrossed in his clan's puppet-making techniques, or maybe he was immersed in the Yu clan's battle techniques. He did not care about contracting grimoires and beasts, and neglected them too much. That was why the world thought he was trash. Of course, it could also be because of the clan's internal exclusion that they did not tell him anything about beasts. Hence, in the eyes of ordinary people, this outstanding third young master was a trash who did not even know basic knowledge. After a short 2 days of interaction, Yi Kong felt that this Yu clan's third young master was not only not trash, he was also a genius who had hidden himself very deeply. He used to be called a genius, but compared to him, he would be so ashamed that he would blush. Even 2 years ago, when he was at his most glorious period, he was nothing compared to him. At Yulong Valley, when he saw the sea of insects that covered the entire mountain for the first time, he was so scared that his legs turned to jelly. However, this Yu clan's third young master, who was called trash by the world, had the audacity to charge straight through and even pass through without suffering any injuries. In the stars' domain, he had only decided to enter the 12 zodiac temples to challenge them after winning 19 times in a row. However, in less than half an hour, the elite team of 10 people, including himself, had been completely annihilated. This Yu clan's third young master, who was mocked and ridiculed by everyone, had dared to enter alone just by contracting a thorny flower. He had even successfully obtained the blindness rune that no one had managed to obtain in the past 5 years. Forget about other things. There had been so many arrogant heroes who had come here, but the golden armor captain did not even bother to look them in the eye. However, he had actually saluted this trash third young master. Although Yi Kong could not imagine what the situation inside was like, he knew that it would definitely not be as simple as what Yu Yang had said. Thinking like this, Yi Kong looked at Yu Yang with a completely different gaze. Vaguely, there was a kind of worship in his eyes. Although there is no absolute standard to define a beast's strength, bronze rank beasts are stronger than normal rank beasts by at least 1 level, silver rank beasts are stronger than normal rank beasts by at least 2 levels, and gold rank beasts are stronger than normal rank beasts by at least 3 levels. Seeing that Yi Kong was lost in thought, Li Chia hurriedly explained. Yes, under normal circumstances, bronze ranked level 3 is at least equivalent to a normal level 4. Silver ranked level 3 is at least equivalent to a normal level 5, and gold ranked level 3 is at least equivalent to a normal level 6. Moreover, normal ranked beasts cannot reach level 8 at most. Only elite ranked beasts, such as bronze ranked, silver ranked, and gold ranked beasts, can reach level 8 or above. Li Gu added after his brother's words. I understand a little, but what about this? If it was a gold-ranked beast egg, what level would the hatchling be? If it's a gold-ranked level 1 beast, and it's still a baby, would its strength be on par with a normal level 4 beast? Yu Yang asked again. No, a baby's strength should be slightly weaker. However, elite-ranked baby beasts are extremely precious. A baby beast that was born as a gold-ranked beast would have a much greater growth potential than a silver-ranked beast that evolved to gold-ranked after it matured. Under the same level, a gold-ranked beast battle power would also be stronger. Being born as an elite-ranked beast is the lifelong pursuit of every warrior. In large-scale auctions, an outstanding gold-ranked baby beast could be sold for thousands or even tens of thousands of gold coins. Some small countries would even empty their national coffers to buy a gold-ranked baby beast. Among adult beasts, let alone gold-ranked beasts, even bronze-ranked beasts would not be below level 3. These elite-ranked beasts are at least level 3 or above. Other than baby beasts, it's impossible for there to be gold-ranked level 2 adult beasts. Gold-ranked beasts would normally be above level 5 after they matured. There are no low-leveled gold-ranked beasts. If it's a Gold King beast, it would be above level 6. Seeing that Yu Yang didn't understand, the golden armor captain took the initiative to explain to him. Yu Yang nodded and finally asked, what does a beast star rating mean? At this time, Yikong had already regained his senses. He nodded and replied, "The star rating of a beast is set by the rankers of the soaring dragon continent after thousands of years of trial and error. It includes many aspects and mainly evaluates a beast's value. Is the more stars the better?" Yang had heard a little about it from the big-breasted beauty, but he still wanted to know more. Of course, the more the better, but there aren't many beasts that can be rated as more than 5 stars. 1-star and 2-star beasts are all brought by normal mercenaries. These are not bad in the eyes of normal people, but in the eyes of rankers, they are all trash. 3-star and 4-star beasts are already the best beasts that warriors desire. They are called excellent beasts. Of course, in the eyes of rankers, 3-star and 4-star beasts are just some beasts that do manual labor. 5 stars, we call it the small superior grade. 6 stars are the superior grade and are extremely rare. 7 stars are the earth spirit beasts. Even the king of a small country might not have one. 8 stars are the heavenly spirit beasts. Only the top martial artists of the 4 great clans, the 3 royal families, and the 4 great sects have them. 9-star beasts are holy beasts. 10-star beasts are divine beasts. They all have high intelligence, similar to humans. Humans can't contract them. They can only be chosen by them and take the initiative to contract warriors. It is said that when holy beasts and divine beasts evolve to a certain level, they can transform into humans and even have a summoning grimoire. When Yikong said this, Yu Yang's head exploded. Little lowly Lamia, little one Li, she had a summoning grimoire. Could it be that she was a holy beast? Divine beast? Yu Yang suppressed his heartbeat and secretly swallowed a mouthful of saliva. He asked, "What does this evaluation have to do with bronze, silver, and gold?" "No, because this is not recognized by the summoning grimoire. It is only an evaluation that our soaring dragon continent warriors have explored. Normally, the number of stars a beast can get represents its potential or battle power. For example, if your Hui Tai Lang can get a 5-star evaluation, then in the future, it can evolve to a gold-ranked level 5 in theory. What's your Hui Tai Lang's evaluation?" After the golden armor captain explained, he asked Yu Yang curiously. In his heart, he estimated that this extremely intelligent ironback demonic wolf with dense demonic chi could at least be rated as a 5-star beast. Yu Yang blinked and replied, "4 stars." Everyone fell to the ground. Even a blind person could see that he was lying. Could it be that this little thief didn't know how to lie? This lie was a little too obvious. Actually, there was no need for Yu Yang to answer. Everyone had already guessed that Hui Tai Lang's evaluation was 5 stars. This was because when the golden armor captain used Hui Tai Lang as an example, this little thief's face showed an expression of how do you know it's 5 stars. He actually thought that by saying it was 4 stars, he would be able to fool everyone. "Oh, woo!" Hui Tai Lang stood up, as if it didn't agree with Yu Yang, saying it was only 4 stars. "Get lost. You're not 4 stars. Do you want to be 5 stars? 4 stars is already too much for you. Everyone, it really isn't 5 stars. It's only 4 stars." Yu Yang kicked Hui Tai Lang and hurriedly explained to everyone. When everyone heard this, they almost fell down. I've seen people who can't lie, but I've never seen someone who's so bad at lying. He's obviously trying to hide the fact that he's hiding something. Yikong was afraid that Yu Yang would say more wrong things, so he quickly pulled him away. A 5-star beast was a treasure that warriors yearned for even in their dreams. If Hui Tai Lang had signed a contract with this 3rd young master, these mercenaries might have given up. However, Hui Tai Lang was an uncontracted beast, so it was inevitable that some people would covet it. Even if they didn't have the strength to fight for Hui Tai Lang, they would probably report it to some clan and exchange it for a reward. Although Yu Yang left, the golden armor captain ordered the mercenary leader who lost the bet to take out 10 gold and leave it with him. He wanted the mercenary leader to send out all his wills and get a satisfactory reply from the family before he could return the 10 gold to him. When a mercenary leader heard that there was hope of getting the money back, a smile appeared on his face, and he agreed. 10 gold was not a small amount of money. Wasn't it just sending a few letters? This kind of enthusiastic act of sending back the wills should be able to get a lot of thanks from the family. Although he would be running errands, it was better than losing money and losing face. There was a mercenary who kept staring at Hui Tai Lang, who was following Yu Yang away. His eyes were filled with greed. The golden armor captain saw this and snorted. A beast that was so loyal without a contract. How could others get their hands on it? He didn't care about these mercenaries and ordered the guards to chase them away. He walked behind a secret stone and moved the secret stone door. He entered and sealed the door. Then he placed the gold token on his waist into the seal on the crystal pillar in front of him. A burst of golden light flashed and lines of golden words appeared on the crystal pillar. The last line of words appeared in bursts of colorful light. Titan, the Xia citizen, human male, first person to pass the Ares temple in 10 years. Completion rate 120%. Seeing this, the golden armor captain was shocked. His expression was even more exaggerated than seeing a black dragon king flying down from the sky and saying good morning. However, when he went out, his expression was completely the same as before, as if nothing had happened. The golden armor captain surrounded him and asked curiously, "Captain, what is that brat's completion rate?" 20%. The golden armor captain directly reduced it by 100%. It can't be. Could it be that he spent 3 hours clearing all the sheephead warriors? No wonder he could get the blindness rune. Heavens, this brat is so powerful. The golden armor captain cried out in surprise. Today's matter is a national secret. Those who leak it will be executed. The golden armor captain looked at his 5 subordinates and snorted with a stern face and cold eyes. Yes, the 5 golden armor captain nervously swallowed their saliva. After another day, Yu Yang asked in boredom, "Yi Kong, is there any way to accept this same trial mission? Can I also enter the Blackstone Labyrinth to look for Yu Bing?" Yi Kong scratched his head and explained with a slight headache, "Of course you can. However, the Blackstone Labyrinth is a very complicated labyrinth world. If your sense of direction is not strong enough, you might not even be able to come out for half a month. Waiting here is better than going in to look for her. Otherwise, if Yu Bing comes out, she might have to wait for you. Moreover, the trial mission of the Blackstone Labyrinth is for plant-type beasts. You can only get 1 heart of oak tree, which is useless for normal beasts. It would not help Hui Tai Lang level up at all. I think it's better to wait outside." Hearing this, Yu Yang was even more worried that Yu Bing would get lost inside. He wasn't worried about himself, because he had the quintet golden puppet mice. Labyrinth was a piece of cake for him. Although the heart of oak tree was useless for Hui Tai Lang, it might be useful for the thorny flower. Even if the thorny flower couldn't use it, giving it to Yu Bing would be good. He slapped his thigh and decided, "I've decided I want to go to the Blackstone Labyrinth." Chapter 56. In the Blackstone Labyrinth, the starting point was only north and south. There were more and more paths towards the end, and it was very easy for trainees to get lost. Of course, no matter how many paths there were, the correct destination would always be the final destination. That was under the 10,000-year ancient oak tree. Only the lucky ones who could reach the 10,000-year ancient oak tree could obtain the heart of the oak tree. However, this heart of the oak tree, which could increase the abilities of plant-type beasts, was a very unpopular reward compared to the earth crystal, bee soul, eyes of truth, and so on. Normal people were not willing to experience the Blackstone Labyrinth, which was not very helpful to their own beasts. Unless there was someone like Yu Bing, whose guardian beast was a plant-type beast, very few people would develop plant-type beasts. However, even so, for thousands of years, who knew how many plant-type trainees had come to this Blackstone Labyrinth? Just the guiding marks that were cut on the Blackstone were enough to make people dizzy. Yu Yang was a little speechless. In the Blackstone Labyrinth, there were also restrictions. He still could not make a move. Only 1 day had passed. If he summoned the barbarian cow shadow, then he would not be able to summon the quintet seeking golden mice. On the other hand, if he summoned the quintet seeking golden mice, then the barbarian cow shadow could only wait until tomorrow. Luckily, there was Hui Tai Lang who did not have a contract. The 3 of you form a team. If you find Yu Bing first, then you must protect her safety. I am willing to pay extra. If you reach the end first and haven't found Yu Bing, then go out and wait for me at the Warriors Guild. Yu Yang separated from Yi Kong, Li Xie, and Li Ge. He chose to go south, while Yi Kong and the other two went north, looking for Yu Bing, who had already entered for 2 days. Yi Kong originally wanted Li Ge to stay by Yu Yang's side to protect him, but thinking that he was safe and sound even after entering the Ares Temple, he stopped himself. Furthermore, Yu Yang still had a bronze-ranked level 4 Hui Tai Lang. Although there were many monsters in the Blackstone Labyrinth, most of them were level 1 or 2, and even level 3. There were no monsters that were too strong, so there was no danger to their lives. If you're lost, use the teleportation scroll. Yu Yang told Yi Kong and the others that although the teleportation scroll was expensive at 1 gold coin, he still prepared one for everyone. Yes. Hearing this, Yi Kong agreed. He felt a little nervous in his heart. The one who would really get lost was probably this Yu clan's 3rd young master who had never left home before. Don't worry, I won't have any problems walking through the maze. Yu Yang knew what Yi Kong and the others were worried about and smiled. He had the quintet seeking golden mice, so finding the fork in the maze was no problem at all. Even without the 5 little mice, Yu Yang had a good sense of direction. As long as he walked through it once, he would be able to remember 70% to 80% of the road, and this was before he transmigrated. After transmigrating to this world and cultivating the innate, invisible sword chi, Yu Yang felt that his intelligence, perception, and senses had all improved tremendously. In his heart, he had an eidetic memory that allowed him to draw inferences about other cases from one instance. Therefore, he was not worried that he would get lost. Taking 10,000 steps back, he still had the level 2 divine vision inherent skill, which would more or less help him in identifying the right path. Yu Yang walked very quickly. He released the 5 little mechanical mice and let them search and advance. With them exploring the surroundings, Yu Yang had no possibility of getting lost. He would not even fall for the wrong directions given by those who had ulterior motives and would directly choose the most correct route to advance. What made him feel slightly regretful was that the quintet seeking golden mice did not find Yu Bing's scent or any traces that she had left behind. Just now at the first fork, Yu Yang could not summon the quintet seeking golden mice in front of Yi Kong and the others, and could only rely on his intuition to choose the south. Now it seemed that Yu Bing might have gone north, and he was the opposite of her. Otherwise, the quintet seeking golden mice had searched for so long. There was no reason why they could not find any traces that she had left behind. Thinking of this, Yu Yang hurriedly increased his speed and prepared to wait for Yu Bing in front of the 10,000-year ancient oak tree to give her a surprise. The monsters in the Blackstone Labyrinth were mostly insect type or plant type. It was common to see large groups of low-level demon insects swarming out to attack people. Although their attack power was very weak, they looked very disgusting and strange. Sometimes they would be paired with plant-type monsters like man-eating tiger thorn, corpse-eating earth king flower, and ghost cage man-catching grass, which were also quite a headache. Occasionally, level 2 green snakes, grass snakes, flower snakes, marsh snakes, blue-tongued lizards, and running dreadclaw lizards could be seen pouncing out from the darkness to ambush Yu Yang, who was passing by. However, even if there was no Hui Tai Lang, Yu Yang could still turn a blind eye to these beasts that were level 2 and below. Although he could not personally take action, with his innate realm skills, he could avoid all dangers. Hui Tai Lang was now awesome. The barbarian cow shadow did not come out and little Wenli was resting. So it was only Hui Tai Lang who majestically bullied the little insects, snakes, and lizards, torturing them to its heart's content. Yu Yang could now see that the main purpose of this Blackstone Labyrinth was not to obtain the heart of the oak tree. The real purpose was to let the trainees receive special training from plant-type beasts throughout the whole trial. There were many places that required the use of plant-type beasts in order to clear the trial easily. Otherwise, the trainees would have to be like Yu Yang, who had a bronze-ranked level 4 Hui Tai Lang and forcefully charge through the trial. For a grimoire contractor like Yu Bing, if they were to charge through the trials in the Blackstone Labyrinth and fight nonstop, they should be able to improve a lot. There were many battles that were targeted at plant-type beasts. For example, there were some ice or fire-type traps that could completely restrain plant-type beasts. If the trainee's control was not good enough, they would not be able to pass through. This kind of most basic trial ground also had the effect of cultivating team spirit. There were a few dangerous areas that required teamwork in order to be easier to pass through. If they were to charge through the trials alone, they would need to put in 10 times the effort. What surprised Yang the most was that this Blackstone labyrinth completely forbade flying beasts. Maybe it was because plant-type beasts did not have the ability to fly, but the entire Blackstone labyrinth had the power to forbid flying. Sometimes, Yang wanted to jump onto the tall Blackstone boulder and look into the distance to look for Yubing. However, he found that he could not jump smoothly, and the height he could jump was also much lower than outside. 6 hours later, Yang completed the trial road that normal trainees would need at least 3 days to complete. He arrived at the foot of the 10,000-year ancient oak tree that was protected by almost 100 dryad guards. At first, Yang thought that this tree had an old man's face full of wrinkles, a crooked nose, and a mouth that could speak. However, that was not the case at all, other than the fact that this tree was so huge that even 10 people couldn't wrap their arms around it. It was filled with a mysterious life energy. There was a kind of spiritual glow hidden in the crown of the tree. Yang finally understood that the heart of the oak tree was not a wooden heart, but a life energy that was added to the body of a plant-type beast. When the trainee accepted the mission, the psychic 10,000-year ancient oak tree would give the trainee a reward according to the level of the completed mission. In front of the 10,000-year ancient oak tree, there was a crystal pillar that emitted a faint white light. Its base was entwined with tentacles of tree roots. It looked like it was connected to the 10,000-year ancient oak tree. The 10,000-year ancient oak tree would give the trainee the energy reward of the heart of the oak tree, according to the level of the mission inscribed on the crystal pillar. Yang looked at it and found that the level 1 mission was the easiest. It only needed to identify 100 plant seeds in the forest. The level 2 mission was to collect 100 types of mushrooms in the mushroom forest. Of course, these mushrooms couldn't be picked up randomly. One had to ask those mushroom beasts that could spit spores. The level 3 mission was to collect 100 red apples from the apple orchard where the fanged spider and the spotted tree snake appeared. The level 4 mission was to kill 10 marsh crocodiles from the black swamp. Every marsh crocodile was at least a level 3 beast. If the trainee had the confidence, he could go to the demon's blood swamp and touch the 9-headed monsters there. He didn't know how many 9-headed monsters there were, but every 9-headed monster was at least a bronze-ranked level 7 terrifying beast. This mission only required the trainee to kill one 9-headed monster. Furthermore, the reward was the heaviest, 1,000-year-old heart of the oak tree. Should I wait here for Yubing, or should I test the 9-headed monster's strength first? Yang hesitated a little. In the end, he took out a gold coin. The fate of the 9-headed monster would be decided by the gold coin. If it was heads, he would temporarily let it go and wait for Yubing to come. If it was tails, he would go and chop it. The gold coin was tossed up high. Chapter 57. The gold coin was thrown into the air. Yang didn't catch it. It fell to the ground. The side view of the Xia Empire's great Emperor Jun Xin was facing upwards. This was a front view. It's only fair if you win 2 out of 3 sets. Yang saw that it wasn't tails and felt a little unhappy. He could have killed the 9-headed monster while waiting for Yubing. Otherwise, if he waited for her to come, he might not be able to kill the 9-headed monster. Although she was his own sister, and it wouldn't hurt to let her know a little. If he could keep it a secret, it would be better if she didn't know anything. Although Yubing wasn't the kind of person who didn't know the gravity of the situation, she was too young and had a pure heart. If the enemy tried to trick her, it would be easy for her to fall into their trap. Moreover, there were many powerful people in the soaring dragon continent with all kinds of inherent skills. If there was someone who could see through other people's thoughts, Yubing didn't have his inherent skill of disguise, and she wasn't good at lying. If someone saw through her that he was the new innate rancor, then the beautiful woman's family would be in danger. He tossed the gold coin again. It was still heads. Damn, this doesn't count. This is the last time I'll make a real decision. Yu Yang decided to throw a tails. He tossed it high up for the third time. When it fell to the ground, it actually magically smashed into the soil. The entire gold coin stood up straight. This probability really made Yu Yang dumbfounded. However, he quickly flipped the gold coin upside down and picked it up again. So it turns out that heavens will want me to kill the nine-headed monster while waiting. All right, I'll do it according to the heavens' will. Hui Tai Lang looked at his master, dumbfounded. Suddenly, he felt that he had learned many things from his master. Yu Yang kicked him. If you're afraid of death, then stay and wait. When the time comes, I'll roast the nine-headed monster. There's no part for you. Hui Tai Lang quickly expressed his loyalty and wagged his tail. Although he didn't stay and wait for Yu Bing, he still moved a large stone and placed it in front of the crystal pillar. He wrote the words, Yu Bing, wait for my return. Even though he wasn't a good brother, he didn't completely forget about his little sister. He was just too curious, and he had to see the nine-headed monster. Of course, if Yu Yang were to challenge the nine-headed monster now, he would only have little one Li as his main fighting power, which was still a little lacking. He could not summon the barbaric cow shadow at the moment, and the giant shadow needed a few more days to accumulate. It was true that Hui Tai Lang was bronze-ranked level 4, but the weakest adult nine-headed monster was bronze-ranked level 7. The difference was not small. Besides, the nine-headed monster was not afraid of being surrounded. It was different from the three-headed chimeras of the Ares Temple. How are they going to fight the nine-headed monster today? Do you think I won't be able to do anything? To the shameless Yu Yang, fighting the nine-headed monster in the demon's blood swamp was equivalent to going to the neighboring school to pick a fight. That was the opponent's territory. No matter how strong he was, he would be easily defeated by the opponent's human wave attack. Yu Yang would not do such a stupid thing. He did not fight it head-on, but it did not mean that he had no other way. The quintet seeking golden mice, which had no fighting power in other people's eyes, were like cheat-like godly weapons in Yu Yang's hands. The demon's blood swamp. As far as the eye could see, everywhere was blood red. There was a faint fishy smell in the air. It was not the smell of blood. Yu Yang guessed that it was the weird smell of the nine-headed monster. The nine-headed monster had lived in the demon's blood swamp for an unknown period of time. The entire blood-red swamp was filled with their smell. There were very few demon insects here, and no wild beasts could be seen. The only thing that could be seen were marsh snakes of all sizes swimming in the mud. Be good, find out where the nine-headed monster's nest is. If they're not at home, then steal their eggs for me. Yu Yang had read a comic when he was young. It was a story of two mice stealing eggs. One mouse hugged the egg, while the other dragged its companion's tail, successfully stealing the egg. This left a deep impression on him. Now that he had the quintet seeking golden mice, he would definitely put them to use. In the swamp, the water and earth-type quintet seeking golden mice could move freely. Yu Yang decided to send them out to steal the nine-headed monster's eggs. The water-type quintet seeking golden mice were the fastest in the swamp, moving forward with the speed of a fish swimming. The earth-type moved slightly slower, but not by much. Yu Yang used his consciousness to control them from afar. It felt as cool as playing with a remote control toy car. As expected of the ghost genius Yu Gong's proud work, these quintet-seeking golden mice were awesome. Easy to operate, complete functions, waterproof, fireproof, free of maintenance, free of charge, 3 guarantees of quality. It was truly a godly tool for traveling at home, exploring and stealing treasures. After more than an hour of exploration, the two little quintet seeking golden mice had explored 2/3 of the demon's blood swamp. They found 6 nine-headed monsters. 2 of them were young and only had 3 heads. The other 2 were close to adulthood and had already grown 6 heads. The remaining 2, 1 male and 1 female, were sleeping in the huge nest. They didn't react to the quintet seeking golden mice's approach. The quintet seeking golden mice were level 1 puppet mice. They had no fighting power and no life force. Even if the nine-headed monster saw them, it would only think that they were moving rocks. If the nine-headed monster was as smart as humans, it would suspect that these two rock lumps could move. However, the nine-headed monster had not evolved to have such a smart brain. Moreover, the quintet seeking golden mice's movements were very nimble and hidden, not attracting attention. There were eggs in the nest. However, the nine-headed monster's eggs were unusually big. The little quintet seeking golden mice had no way of stealing them back. Don't think that I don't have a way. There's something called a net in this world. Yu Yang used the thick and tough black reeds from the edge of the swamp to weave a simple and crude net. Although this broken net looked ugly, it was enough to carry a large rock. It was sturdy enough. Hui Tai Lang looked at this broken net that Yu Yang had named Zhong Tong and was a little tempted. It felt that it was time for it to show off its skills. Yu Yang kicked it. This Zhong Tong was not used to catch fish, but to steal eggs. If the nine-headed monster's eggs were gold-ranked and hatched as soon as it hatched, it could be sold for a few thousand gold coins in an auction. How much money would that be? The greedy Yu Yang felt that with his Zhong Tong here, he wouldn't have to worry about not having enough money. Of course, with just two quintets seeking golden mice and a broken Zhong Tong net, it was impossible to steal the eggs that were protected by the nine-headed monster's nest. They had to lure the two nine-headed monsters out of the nest. At this time, Hui Tai Lang, the meat bait, came in handy. Hui Tai Lang had always been very arrogant on land, but to lure the nine-headed monsters in the muddy water, its legs were a little weak. Useless fellow, you have to think positively. Think about it. If we succeed and steal the nine-headed monster's eggs, then there will be golden cubs, shiny gold coins, and a lot of meat bones. Do you understand? What are the nine-headed monsters? Later on, I will kill them all and turn them into barbecue skewers. Stop trembling and set off immediately. Otherwise, I will roast their legs. Yu Yang kicked Hui Tai Lang into the swamp. Hui Tai Lang hadn't even swum 100 meters in the demon's blood swamp before it startled the two nine-headed monsters that were almost mature. It was so scared that it quickly swam back to the shore, escaping for its life. Fortunately, the nine-headed monsters didn't seem to have any interest in wolf meat and didn't chase after it. Yu Yang was furious. He warned Hui Tai Lang that if it dared to swim back, he would tie it up and dry it. Hui Tai Lang was scared half to death. It rolled and crawled into the swamp, barking nonstop. The wolf's howl resounded through the entire demon's blood swamp. This time, all the nine-headed monsters were startled. Hui Tai Lang didn't dare to swim back. It fled to the other side for its life. Fortunately, there were some places where the mud was hard enough to allow it to escape. Otherwise, it would have been caught by the nine-headed monsters and eaten alive. From the quintet seeking golden mice's detection, the nine-headed monster family didn't all chase after it. There was still the largest female nine-headed monster guarding the nest. Yu Yang couldn't bear to let the lowly little onely go into the swamp. He clenched his teeth, took off his clothes, and jumped into the swamp himself. If it was before his transmigration, 100 of him wouldn't even be enough to fill the gaps between the nine-headed monster's teeth. However, now that he was an innate master and had learned the mysterious 3 styles, even though he couldn't use the subtle steps and couldn't walk on the water surface, when he stepped on some mud, he could walk rather smoothly. It was as if he was walking on mud with iron legs. It was just that the heavenly sword goddess's unparalleled sword dance movement technique was a little too ugly when it was used by him. His appearance caused the female, nine-headed monster guarding the nest to fly into a rage. Its 9 necks drilled out from the mud at the bottom of the water and danced chaotically. It spat out a few mouthfuls of black acid towards Yu Yang, who was running in the mud. The black acid shot over like cannonballs, causing Yu Yang to be in a sorry state. He was so scared that he quickly ran back. However, when Yu Yang ran far away, the female, 9-headed monster returned to guard the nest. It wasn't willing to chase after him relentlessly. Yu Yang cursed under his breath and ran toward it again. He shouted loudly, attracting its attention and provoking it to the end. In order to steal the egg, Yu Yang and Hui Tai Lang, 1 master and 1 servant, lured the group of 9-headed monsters again and again. At the bottom of the demon's blood swamp, the 2 quintets seeking golden mice used the broken central connection net to drag a huge egg, and slowly swam back. According to their speed, they should be able to reach the shore in 2 hours. Oh my God, it's too hard to earn some money. Yu Yong ran around on the mud, almost dying from exhaustion. However, even now, he couldn't bear to give up on the egg he was about to steal. He clenched his teeth and persevered. That was the 9-headed monster's egg. Chapter 58. The 9-headed monster's egg was in his hands, but what made Yu Yong faint was that for some reason, this egg that he had painstakingly obtained was actually broken. There was an extremely small crack on the eggshell. Although there was no egg white flowing out, this egg should not be able to hatch the 9-headed monster. Just like this, Yu Yang's dream of becoming rich was completely shattered with the appearance of this small crack. 2 hours of painstakingly and dangerously luring the enemy, causing the 9-headed monster's family to be exhausted. In the end, all they got in return was a broken egg. Yu Yong really wanted to smash this egg into the ground. Do you think that I have no other way? I will eat you. In the end, Yu Yong decided to turn his grief and indignation into food. Returning to the 10,000-year ancient oak tree, he started a fire and roasted this 9-headed monster's egg that could be worth thousands of gold coins. After eating until he was full, he burped and rubbed his belly. This was the first time in his life that Yu Yong felt so extravagant. If there was a second choice, Yu Yong would definitely not roast it and eat it. He really had no other way. In comparison, Grey Wolf, who had worked himself to death just now, was eating to his heart's content. He was beaming with joy. To him, this 9-headed monster's egg was super nutritious. After Yu Yong roasted and ate the 9-headed monster's egg, he waited for a long time, but Yu Bing still did not come. Yi Kong and the Li brothers were also nowhere to be seen. He simply climbed onto a large branch of the 10,000-year ancient oak tree and slept soundly. He really hoped that the heavenly sword goddess would come out to comfort his wounded heart, but she was still nowhere to be seen. When Yu Yong was cultivating in his dreams, because he was in a bad mood, his qi was suppressed in his chest. It was difficult for his mind to merge with the heaven and earth. The sword qi that he usually easily released was unable to smoothly break out of his body. Instead, it accumulated and gradually felt like it was going to explode. This was the first time that Yu Yong had encountered such a situation. If he did not release the qi that was surging back and forth in his chest, he might be in danger. What should he do? Should he immediately stop cultivating, or should he calm down and return to his previous cultivation state? Could this strange phenomenon be related to him eating the 9-headed monster's egg? Is this oppressive energy the energy stored within the 9-headed egg? But why didn't he notice it when he was eating? Yu Yong suddenly had an epiphany. Since this energy is affecting me, why don't I drive it out of my body and use the force of the explosion to force it out? Perhaps this was a checkpoint in cultivation, a test, and at the same time, an opportunity to break through. Thinking of this, Yu Yong was greatly energized. He raised his hand, put his fingers together, and formed a seal with his 10 fingers. His heart, form, and qi became one. He focused all of his attention and true energy on his hands. The energy in his chest had accumulated to the extreme and was on the verge of exploding. He let out a loud shout in his heart and roared to the sky. The entire spiritual world shook. It was as if the Milky Way had shattered, as if the universe had exploded. The sword qi formed by his hands instantly condensed into the strongest point. It was as if a bolt of lightning had broken through a prison, as if Vajra had shaken the earth, as if a thunderbolt had exploded in the sky. In the end, it erupted and gushed out. This two-handed sword qi, which had been accumulating for a long time, was 1/2 meter long, and it tore through the air. Its might was 10 times greater than the usual sword qi. For a long time, Yu Yong still couldn't believe this fact. Yu Yong discovered that after he released this sword, he felt as if his entire body's spiritual qi was being sucked dry. He felt his legs go weak and his head spin. The consumption was even more than when Queen Vivian Li sucked his qi last time. Heavens, I have unintentionally comprehended a new sword intent a new sword technique. Although the accumulation time is extremely long, and I can only release one sword technique, this is really something I comprehended on my own. I'm not dreaming, right? Yu Yang was so happy that he couldn't tell north from south. Although I can only release one sword technique with all my true energy, it's full of power. If I face a strong enemy in the future, I might be able to use it. Yu Yang was very happy that he had comprehended a new sword technique. Most importantly, this technique was created by himself after he had comprehended it, giving him a sense of success. After being excited for a long time, he still couldn't suppress the surging excitement from the bottom of his heart. He didn't know if it was because this sword chi had released the oppressive energy in his chest, or because his mood had improved, but in short, Yu Yang suddenly became happy. He felt that the sky was clear and his body was light, as if he was a tiger roaring in the forest or a dragon dancing in the nine heavens. If the heavenly sword goddess saw his improvement, she would definitely be happy for him. Yu Yang delightfully fell into a deep sleep. In his dream, he didn't see it. The sword chi that he shot out with his fingers did not disappear, but formed a faint black ball of energy. The 10,000-year ancient oak tree shone brightly, and a faint green rain of light fell, bathing Yu Yang in the rain of light. As for the faint black ball of energy, it quickly melted. As if it had a life of its own, it quickly drilled into Hui Tai Lang's mouth. However, the 10,000-year ancient oak tree's green rain of light did not disperse even after a long time. Countless rays of light silently merged into Yu Yang and Hui Tai Lang's bodies. Yu Yang slept peacefully, as if nothing had happened. However, Hui Tai Lang's body quickly changed. His skin bulged, his muscles twisted, and his bones changed. In the end, a head actually grew out from his neck, turning him into a two-headed wolf. Hui Tai Lang didn't wake up, but he seemed to feel an incomparable pain even in his sleep, as he continuously whimpered in a low voice. Under the cover of the faint green rain of light, Hui Tai Lang's body finally calmed down after a long time. He slowly returned to his original appearance, as if the two-headed wolf had never appeared before. In his sleep, Hui Tai Lang comfortably yawned. An extremely faint black ball of energy floated out from his mouth like a bubble. That ball of black energy seemed to have exhausted all of its energy. Under the last drip of the green rain of light, it instantly disappeared, turning into nothingness. The light of the 10,000-year ancient oak tree's huge crown gradually dispersed, returning to silence. In the dark night, Yu Yang and Hui Tai Lang slept soundly. One master and one servant. They didn't even know what had happened. On the first day, when Yu Yang woke up, he saw that Yu Bing hadn't arrived yet. After eating breakfast, he prepared to bring Hui Tai Lang to the demon's blood swamp to steal the nine-headed monster's egg. However, when he unintentionally looked over, he realized that Hui Tai Lang seemed to be a little strange. He then circulated his innate chi in his eyes and focused his gaze. He was shocked when he saw that Hui Tai Lang was still an ironback demon wolf yesterday. How did it become a two-headed demon wolf today? If it wasn't for the fact that Hui Tai Lang was still wagging its tail in a flattering manner, Yu Yang would have suspected that it was someone who changed his own Hui Tai Lang. Hui Tai Lang didn't level up. It was still bronze-ranked level 4, but it had strangely evolved. From an ironback demon wolf, it had become a two-headed demon wolf. But it clearly only had one head, right? How could it become a two-headed demon wolf? Could it be that it was because it ate the nine-headed monster's egg? Was it the nine-headed monster's egg's energy that caused it to mutate into a two-headed demon wolf? Yu Yang sweated profusely. He thought to himself that it was fortunate that he, who also ate the nine-headed monster's egg, didn't become a two-headed monster with two heads. Otherwise, he would really want to cry, but have no tears. He definitely wouldn't be able to get a girl, and he would probably be laughed at by the whole world. Looks like not everything can be eaten randomly. Now that Hui Tai Lang had become a two-headed demon wolf, would it become a three-headed demon wolf in the future? Please don't become a nine-headed demon wolf. Otherwise, it would really make people sweat to death. How do you feel? Does your body feel uncomfortable? Yu Yang patted Hui Tai Lang's head. He felt that it only had one soul that he could sign a contract with. There wasn't any nine-headed monster's soul within it. However, the demonic energy in its body was extremely strange. The Demon King Ha Xian's evil demonic energy was mixed with two new types of energy. One was strange and chaotic, while the other was natural and pure. The three types of energy formed an ingenious balance, each assimilating a type of attribute. Among them, the Demon King Ha Xian's evil demonic energy was the strongest. It assimilated the strongest fire attribute in Hui Tai Lang's body. The natural and pure energy was second. It magically assimilated the dark attribute. Furthermore, the originally corrosive and destructive dark attribute was turned into an incomparably tranquil life energy. That kind of energy that was as calm as still water provided Hui Tai Lang's entire body with an indescribable vitality. Yu Yang couldn't understand it. The dark attribute could be transformed like this? Where did this natural and pure energy come from? Who bestowed it to Hui Tai Lang? Could it be that a passing deity saw that Hui Tai Lang was being bullied too pitifully by him, so he gave a bit of energy? When Yang thought about it this way, he was really speechless. However, Yu Yang could confirm that the third type of energy, the third type of strange chaotic energy, should belong to the nine-headed monster. This energy had assimilated the metal attribute in Hui Tai Lang's body. Although Hui Tai Lang didn't level up, Yu Yang felt that this fellow had become a lot stronger. Moreover, in the near future, when the three types of energy completely fused together and truly became one, Hui Tai Lang's strength would increase by a huge amount. Hui Tai Lang, show me two heads. Yu Yang wanted to see how Hui Tai Lang would look like when he turned into a two-headed wolf. Woof! Hui Tai Lang didn't know that he had this kind of ability. He lowered his head in inferiority. You're really a born idiot. You don't even know what abilities you have? Yu Yang was speechless towards Hui Tai Lang. As a wolf, Hui Tai Lang was probably the first one in the entire soaring dragon continent to be so muddle-headed. This fellow was really a case of don't beat him up. Just as Yu Yang was about to ruthlessly kick him, he suddenly felt a bloody figure running towards them from afar. When he looked carefully, he realized that it was actually Yi Kong. Immediately, Yu Yang's heart sank. Yi Kong was covered in blood, and he came here alone. This meant that they and Yu Bing might have met with danger. Yu Yang flew towards Yi Kong and supported his body that was covered in cuts and bruises. He asked anxiously, "How did you become like this? What actually happened?" Chapter 59. You guys, are you done yet? Yu Bing glared angrily at the people in front of her. They were all her teammates from the same team, her classmates from Shangjing Academy. But now, they had become her attackers. Actually, it wasn't the first time Yu Bing had been attacked by the enemy. Almost every 2 or 3 days, there would be hired mercenaries attacking her with a 3-on-3 battle. In Tong Tian Tower, as long as someone challenged and rejected more than 10 times, warriors had a promise to fight one battle every day. They couldn't reject, or else their battle points would be deducted. Once their battle points became negative, they would be expelled from Tong Tian Tower. The expelled person had to complete at least 10 bravery missions before they could return to Tong Tian Tower. What was more serious was that if a summoning grimoire contracted warriors' battle points were too low, their grimoire's level would be reduced. If they kept refusing to fight, their grimoire might even drop from gold or silver to bronze. 3-on-3 battle was originally a relatively fair method of fighting. In 2 small teams, each team would send out 3 people and take turns to fight one-on-one. Both sides could make adjustments to their opponent's beasts. There were many ways to fight, making it the fairest and most exciting battle in the world. Not mentioning the mercenaries, even the Academy's internal selections, the elite tournament between academies, and even the young hero tournament between countries used this relatively fair 3-on-3 battle. Of course, on the surface, 3-on-3 battle was very fair. But to Yu Bing, it was a disaster, because she had no teammates and was alone. Others sent out 3 people, but she could only fight alone. Furthermore, the opponents kept using ice and fire-type beasts that could restrain her plant-type beasts. In this kind of difficult situation, it was almost impossible for Yu Bing to defeat all 3 enemies by herself in a battle. The enemies were even more despicable. They kept hiring mercenaries to harass and attack Yu Bing, exhausting her spiritual energy and summoning quota, causing her to be unable to summon more than 2 beasts. Every time, she could only summon 1 Treeman warrior. With such suppression, how could Yu Bing not lose if she fought again? Why? Were you attacked in the Blackstone Labyrinth? Sorry, we didn't know about this. We just missed classmate Yu Bing and want to spar with you. A man with a long, thin face and white eyes stepped out from the group and laughed sinisterly. When Yu Bing was doing the trial mission in the Blackstone Labyrinth, she was 2 more stages away from reaching the 10,000-year ancient oak tree and completing the heart of the oak tree. 5 mercenary warriors chased after her from behind. They first cut the rope and destroyed her suspension bridge mission. Then, when she fell into the water, they despicably launched a sneak attack. They summoned a giant water python to attack Yu Bing, who fell into the water. In a moment of desperation, Yu Bing hatefully used the precious teleportation scroll and gave up on the Blackstone Labyrinth trial, returning to the Warrior Guild. She did not expect to see her former teammates waiting in front of her the moment she teleported back. Before she could even react, they had already used challenge cards on her. In order to ensure that her summoning grimoire would not drop in level, Yu Bing was forced to accept this shameless 3-on-3 battle. Those 5 mercenary warriors just now were definitely hired by them. Yu Bing did not know what she had done wrong to make them suppress her like this. Ever since she entered Tong Tian Tower, she had never stopped fighting. No matter what, they were teammates and schoolmates of the same school. When her teacher was around, they were polite and courteous. She did not expect that once her teacher left, they would immediately reveal their hypocritical faces. Usually, during the trial, she had always made her Trant warrior do the hard work, while they hid behind her and took advantage of her. Not only that, they were also constantly mocking and ridiculing her. Ever since that day, the mercenaries that were hired to attack him had never stopped. If she did not hide in the trial grounds, she would probably be challenged continuously every day. Shintu, I don't know why you're doing this, but since you want to fight, then let's fight. We might as well have a duel. Everyone wins or loses based on their own abilities. If you lose, don't ever come looking for me again. If I lose, I will also disappear from your sight. Black-clothed Yu Bing was extremely angry. She faintly felt that this endless harassment and attacks were related to her. They did not want her to improve. They did not want her to become stronger. They did not want her to succeed in the trial. So they used such despicable and shameless methods to exploit the loopholes in Tong Tian Tower's rules. They kept her in a state of defeat, unable to level up her summoning grimoire, unable to increase her guardian beast's ability and level. I'm sorry. The challenge was proposed by Su Xian. It has nothing to do with me. The tall man in the team who spoke was the leader of the Rose team, the eldest grandson of the Shun Tu clan, Shun Tu Hao. Less nonsense, Yu Bing. You can reject the 3-on-3 battle. This young master has money. He has plenty of challenge cards. You don't have many points left, right? Haha. If Su Xian does not kick you out of Tong Tian Tower, you would not be called Little Prince Ghost Eye. The long, skinny face with a pair of white eyes laughed sinisterly. Everyone knew that although this guy called Shin Tu Hao a brother on the surface, he was actually just a dog under Shin Tu Hao. His entire family relied on the Shun Tu family to survive. All right, let's fight. Yu Bing looked coldly at the 2 people standing at the back of the team. If Su Xian was a member of the Shun Tu clan, then these 2 people should be considered as members of the Yu clan. They were the descendants of the Lin clan, and had always been a collateral family that depended on the Yu clan. However, they had never helped her before, and instead often hit her when she was down. Could it be that the 4th branch did not even have a place to stand in the Yu clan? Her own family had already moved out of the Yu clan castle. Why were the 1st branch and the 2nd branch still suppressing them? Yu Bing suppressed the anger in her heart, summoned her grimoire, and summoned her guardian beast, the Treant warrior. A pale golden light flashed, and a dark green Treant warrior that was close to 4 meters tall was summoned. It had already leveled up to bronze-ranked level 3 and had always been Yu Bing's guardian. If it wasn't for such a strong guardian, Yu Bing would have been killed long ago, and not even her bones would have been left in Tong Tian Tower. Summon the Flame Guard. Su Xian used the most despicable battle tactic, and the surrounding mercenary warriors were in an uproar. This kind of battle tactic could be said to be a taboo amongst the warriors of Tong Tian Tower. In Tong Tian Tower, there was a rescue rule. When a warrior was in danger in battle, his companions could go and rescue him and quickly join the battle. Even if it was a one-on-one battle, they could still join in. This rule prevented a large number of deaths due to a mistake or severe injury of a martial artist during a battle. If there was no one to help, the martial artist could use the rescue card to allow his companions to quickly join in and deal with a powerful enemy together. After Su Xian summoned the Flame Guard, he ordered it to throw fireballs at the Treant warrior. The elemental-type Flame Guard completely suppressed the Treant warrior in terms of attributes. The fireballs it threw had a huge explosive power, and it also had a tracking effect, making it hard for normal beasts to dodge. The only weakness was that almost all elemental-type beasts had a strict limit on the number of elemental-type skills they could use. The Flame Guard could only throw a maximum of 5 fireballs at the target. Su Xian controlled the Flame Guard and threw 5 fireballs at the Treant warrior's body. Then, he controlled the Flame Guard to rush towards the Treant warrior whose whole body was charred black and whose branches and leaves were on fire. Su Xian let the Treant warrior hit the Treant warrior heavily. Then, he took out his emergency card and asked 2 of his companions to rescue him. After his 2 companions jumped into the battle light barrier, he laughed evilly and summoned his strongest beast, the evil ghost tooth eye. This kind of shameless action made the onlookers look down on him. If any mercenary did this, even if they won, they would be beaten to death. However, the group of people in front of them were wearing Shangjing Academy's neat uniforms. It was obvious that they were the elites of Shangjing Academy who had come to train. Although the mercenaries could not bear to see a private fight between students, no one was willing to lend a helping hand to Yu Bing. These elite students were usually the children of big clans or had the support of big clans. It was definitely not a good thing to fall out with them and become enemies. Hee, Yu Bing, aren't you arrogant? Why don't you try fighting against the 3 of us alone? Aren't you a child of the Yu clan, one of the 4 great clans? Why don't you bring out the prestige of a child of the Yu clan? Go ahead and shout. Let's see who here can come and save you. Didn't you say that your good-for-nothing 3rd brother is a genius? Didn't you fall out with us because of him? Go ahead and shout. Ask him to come and help you. Ah-ha-ha. Su Xian laughed shamelessly. Yu Bing really wanted to punch that shameless face. But she did not refute. She gritted her teeth and silently commanded the Treant warrior to fight. 5 minutes later, the Treant warrior, whose whole body was on fire, fell to the ground. Although it was bronze-ranked level 3, under the combined attacks of the opponent's ice, fire, and gold-attributed beasts, it finally fell to the ground. The result of the battle was 1 against 6. The Treant warrior defeated the 5 beasts that had the same attribute as it, and finally fell under the evil ghost Tooth Eye's white-eye ray. Although it was defeated in this battle, it was still glorious. The surrounding mercenaries all wanted to applaud the little girl Yu Bing. Her strength and fighting spirit had greatly exceeded their expectations, causing them to feel deep respect for her. Challenge card. 3-3 tactic. The target is Yu Bing. A short man standing beside Shen Tuhao laughed evilly as he took out a challenge card. Wah wah. The surrounding mercenaries were all dumbfounded. Until today, they finally understood what was called shamelessness, what was called ruthlessness, and what was called leaving no room for negotiation. Yu Bing's face was deathly pale. She kept the Treant warrior, whose whole body was on fire, and summoned a level 1 thorny flower. Even if the thorny flower did not have any battle power, as long as it still had a breath left, Yu Bing would fight till the end. She would never admit defeat, nor would she surrender. She could lose, she could die, but she would never let anyone humiliate her family. Protecting her family was her biggest wish. Don't kill that thorny flower so easily. You have to torture her ruthlessly, ravage her, exhaust her spirit, make her overdraft her spirit and spiritual energy to the limit. It's best if you make her overdraft until she becomes an idiot. Ah! Su Xian, this proud villain, shouted loudly, causing the mercenaries' hearts to burn with anger. A group of grown men bullying a little girl like this. What kind of hero were they? Shen Tuhao's expression did not change, but his lips revealed a cruel sneer. He summoned a bronze-ranked level 3 Manticore, shocking everyone present. Although the mercenaries were furious, they were afraid of that terrifying Manticore, so no one dared to move. No one even dared to open their mouths to support Yu Bing. Another 5 minutes passed. The shorty had toyed with his opponent enough. With another wave of his hand, he ordered his beast to tear the thorny flower into pieces. Yu Bing, whose beasts had died one after another, screamed in pain as she held her head. Her body went limp and she fell to the ground. We've won. We've finally defeated this slut. Ha ha ha, brothers. Let's go and destroy her face. Let her become a widow that no one wants. Su Xian was beside himself with joy as he waved his arms. Hearing this, the mercenaries felt a chill in their hearts. According to the rules of a duel, the victor had the right to leave a mark on the loser's body that would not harm the loser's life, but serve as a lesson. Normally, the loser would spit on the loser's body in disdain. The more arrogant ones would draw a turtle on the loser's face, or kick the loser a few times. The most excessive ones would pee on the loser's body. Who would have thought that these students would actually want to destroy someone's face? Could it be that this little girl had a blood feud with them? Bullying people like this, were they not afraid of retribution? The mercenaries were furious, but they did not dare to say anything. Suddenly, the crowd was pushed apart. 2 bloodied and wounded men rushed over crazily, holding machetes in their hands. Standing in front of Yu Bing, they shouted hoarsely, "Unless we die, don't even think of touching a single hair on her." Shin Tu's expression changed, and he secretly made a gesture. Su Xian nodded his head and immediately rushed out, shouting loudly, "You 2 dogs of a slave dare to attempt to murder your master. We have no choice but to get rid of this evil for the people. Go!" The mercenaries were completely convinced. These families' disciples were really scary. Not only were they toyed to death, they even had to bear the infamy of murdering their master. Even though the 2 brothers, Li Xie and Li Gu, had chased after Yu Bing to protect Yu Bing with their lives, they had already suffered heavy injuries in the battle with the 5 attackers in the Blackstone Labyrinth. Now that they were up against the elite students of Shangjing who were even stronger, in the blink of an eye, their bodies were bitten by the beasts until their flesh and blood splattered everywhere. Just 2 lousy mercenaries, and you want to ruin my plans? What a joke. Yu Bing. Oh, Yu Bing, now let's see who can still protect you. Aren't you a genius? Aren't you arrogant? Why don't you show it to me? I will trample you, this genius, under my feet right now. What can you do? Let your trash 3rd brother come and save you. Let him come and take revenge for you. Little whore, I'll let you hit me. I'll let you be arrogant. After Su Xian kicked the unconscious Li Xie and Li Gu away, he raised his right leg high, preparing to ruthlessly step on Yu Bing's chest. Suddenly, a figure flashed and appeared from afar. In an instant, the crowd was sent flying. When the crowd saw clearly, they realized that there was an additional young man who was as angry as a mad lion. He grabbed Su Xian's throat and raised this arrogant fellow up high. Then, with the force of a thunderbolt, he ruthlessly smashed Su Xian's entire body onto the ground. Rumble. The whole crowd was shocked. The stone slabs in the field shattered. Su Xian's head split open, and the blood on his back exploded onto the ground. The person who rushed over like an angry lion was, of course, Yu Yang. He stared at the Rose team opposite him with a death-like gaze. Who dares to touch my sister? Chapter 60. With regards to Yu Yang's shocking entrance, everyone was shocked. Who is this? Shin Tu Hao did not recognize Yu Yang at all. but was intimidated by his terrifying brute force that took down Su Xian the moment he appeared, and asked in a low and urgent voice, "Who is he?" The two Lin family disciples saw Su Xian's miserable state of having his brain burst open and blood splattered all over the ground, and were so scared that they trembled a little. One of them put his hand into his bosom, preparing to take out a teleportation scroll and escape at any time. The other revealed an expression of disbelief and cried out repeatedly, "Impossible, no! This is impossible! Who is he?" Shintu Hao felt his heart beating faster, his palms sweating, and all the muscles in his body tensed up a little. He knew what level of strength Su Xian had. Although Su Xian's strongest beast was the evil eye ghost tooth, which belonged to the war-type summoned beast and not the strengthening-type summoned beast, after contracting it, Su Xian's own body's quality would increase quite a bit. Moreover, Su Xian was a level 3 hero that had just been promoted and already had very strong battle strength. He was definitely not a weakling that could be picked up like a chicken and then easily smashed into pieces like an egg. The man in front of him that looked like an angry lion, his strength was at least 3 times stronger than Su Xian's, and his speed was at least 2 times that of Su Xian. Otherwise, he would definitely not have been able to smash Su Xian into a bloody mess without Su Xian even reacting. Wah! The evil eye ghost tooth floating in the air saw that its master was being attacked and fiercely flew over. It opened its bloody mouth, revealing a mouthful of sharp teeth, and bit towards Yu Yang, who had just picked up Yu Bing. Yu Yang's leg flew up, and before the evil eye ghost tooth could close its eyelids to defend itself, he directly exploded its huge eyeball. He then turned his body and slashed, and his right leg smashed into the evil eye ghost tooth's round head like a windmill. The evil eye ghost tooth fell onto the ground with a bang, and before it could even struggle, Yu Yang's leg once again heavily stomped down with the force of a thunderbolt. The entire process took less than 3 seconds. The level 2 evil ghost tooth was stomped into a pile of minced meat by Yu Yang. In reality, Yu Yang had been suppressing his anger for the past few days. After entering the star field, no matter if it was the Ares Palace or the Blackstone Labyrinth, he did not have the chance to make a move. He could only watch as Little One Li, Grey Wolf, and the barbarian Cow Shadow fought. After returning to the warrior guild outside the star field, he saw Yu Bing being bullied. This completely ignited the anger in his heart. He hadn't been able to fight for the past few days, but now he could finally fight to his heart's content. When Yu Yang smashed Su Xian, no one saw it clearly. However, when Yu Yang brutally slaughtered the level 2 evil ghost tooth eye, everyone saw it clearly, but they were all dumbfounded. This was an instant kill, carrying a person and using only his legs to kill a level 2 evil eye ghost teeth. Just what level had this kid's strength reached? This kid's summoned beast, could it be the strongest among strengthening type beasts, the mammoth? Yu Yang used his innate chi to check and found that Yu Bing was fine. She had only fainted due to overexertion of her spirit and spiritual chi. However, Yu Yang's heart was still burning with anger. A few men ganged up on a little girl, and not only did they beat her until she fainted, they even arrogantly used their feet to stomp on her chest. If this kind of person was not killed, would there still be justice in the world? When Yu Yang was prepared to start a massacre, behind him, Hui Tai Lang and Yi Kong, who was drenched in blood, finally rushed over. Yi Kong saw Su Xian, who was covered in blood on the ground, and was first shocked. Then he hurriedly pounced forward and hugged Yu Yang's legs, shouting anxiously, "Wait, don't be impulsive. You can't kill people in the first and second floors of Tong Tian Tower. If you kill one person, the rules will restrict the killer from entering Tong Tian Tower for 10 years. If you want to kill them, there will be plenty of opportunities in the future. When you reach the 3rd floor, you can kill them however you want, but you can't kill them now. Tong Tian Tower is a world where the strong are respected. As long as you are strong enough, you can do anything. When you reach the 3rd floor of Tong Tian Tower and obtained the Judgment Sword, you can eliminate them like trash and kill them. But now, you don't have to waste your future for these few villains." Yu Yang really didn't know that the bottom floor of Tong Tian Tower actually had such a rule that forbade humans from killing each other. You can't kill people. As long as you kill one person, you will immediately be expelled from Tong Tian Tower. As for the remaining people, you won't be able to take revenge even if you want to. Calm down, you have to calm down. They must have used the 3-on-3 battle method to defeat Yu Bing. So we also have to use the 3-on-3 battle method to retaliate against them. They proposed it first, so we can't refuse. We'll use the 3-on-3 battle method to get back at them. Yi Kong was afraid that Yu Yang would flatten Su Xian's skull that was already on the verge of death. So he tightly hugged Yu Yang's legs and refused to let go. Can't I kill them? When Yu Yang heard this, a cold glint flashed in his eyes. If he couldn't kill them, couldn't he torture them? After knocking down these pieces of trash, he would crush their bones one by one, twist their tendons, and then cripple their progeny, turning them into eunuchs. They would never be able to live, never be able to die. Wouldn't this be more satisfying than killing them? There are many ways to kill people. There was always an extremely fast instant kill. One was to slowly torture them to death. Compared to torturing them to death, instant killing was a very happy release for these fellows. Not only did he want to kill them, he wanted them to die painfully, to die in an ugly manner. He wanted them to suffer all kinds of torture, lose all their face, and finally die with their reputation ruined. Even if they died, they had to die in an incomparably tragic manner. What? He's that trash? Yuyan didn't tell me that. Did you guys recognize the wrong person? When Shin Tu Hao heard the two people from the Lin clan say that Yu Yang was the most useless third young master of the Yu clan, his eyes widened even more than lanterns. He would never have dreamed that the Yu clan's third young master, who was famous for being trash in the soaring dragon continent, would actually be as brave as a lion, as powerful as a tiger. It really looks like him, but he wasn't this scary before. The two disciples from the Lin clan were trembling in fear, like typhoid patients soaking in ice water. So it's like that. Yu Yang's hearing was astonishing. Hearing Shin Tu Hao's words, he immediately judged that Yu Yin wasn't here. Thinking calmly, now that Yu Bing was being bullied, if Yu Yin, her cousin, was here and didn't help her, then he wouldn't be able to explain himself. Yu Yin wasn't here, so Yu Yang didn't have to worry that someone would find out that he wasn't the real Yu clan's third young master. Yu Yang's lips curled into a devilish smile as he looked at the few youngsters in front of him whose faces had turned pale from fright. Who said I wanted to kill them? Yi Kong, don't you know that I'm a firm supporter of pacifism? How could I possibly kill people? My heart is too kind, even more benevolent than an old granny who hasn't killed for 60 years. A person who loves life like me. How could I possibly kill people? Misunderstanding, you've all misunderstood me. Remember, I'm an extremely kind person. As Yang spoke, he used his feet to step heavily on Su Xian's body, who was barely breathing. Once, twice, until blood splattered everywhere. In the blink of an eye, Su Xian's four limbs had been mercilessly stepped on by Yu Yang. When the surrounding mercenaries heard Yu Yang stomping on Su Xian's bones, they all felt like peeing in their pants. How was this guy kind? He was simply a demon. No, he was even scarier than a demon. At least a demon wouldn't claim to be kind. Shin Tu Hao didn't care about Su Xian's life or death. In his eyes, Su Xian was just a dog. It would be best if he was killed by that good-for-nothing from the Yu clan. That way, the ancient code would be able to expel that good-for-nothing from Tong Tian Tower. If he couldn't enter Tong Tian Tower to train for 10 years, no matter if he was good-for-nothing or a fake good-for-nothing, he would still become trash. What he paid attention to was that strange demon wolf. From the looks of it, it was at least bronze-ranked level 3. Bronze-ranked level 3 ironback demon wolf? No, it was bronze-ranked level 4. However, the strange thing was that it wasn't a contracted beast, but a pet that hadn't been contracted before. Could it be that the good-for-nothing from the Yu clan had such a strong beast, but was unable to contract it? If he used a contract scroll to contract it, wouldn't his strength increase greatly, like adding wings to a tiger? Shin Tu Hao was initially shocked by the appearance of Hui Tai Lang. After careful observation, he realized that Hui Tai Lang wasn't Yu Yang's contracted beast and was secretly delighted. The good-for-nothing from a Yu clan was really good for nothing. They couldn't even contract a bronze-ranked level 4 ironback demon wolf, letting it go to waste. This was a heaven-sent opportunity. Shen Tu Hao laughed coldly in his heart, but pretended to be angry on his face. "Who are you?" Su Xian was kind-hearted, helping Yu Bing to get rid of the slave who killed his master. Not only were you not grateful, you even wanted to kill him? So ungrateful, so bloodthirsty and cruel. Who exactly are you? When the mercenaries heard this, they almost gave Shen Tu Hao a thumbs up. Being shameless to this extent was also a kind of realm. They couldn't help but admire him. Which eye of yours saw that I was ungrateful? Which eye of yours saw that I was bloodthirsty and cruel? Am I being cruel? I only invited his good friend to eat Shu Soul bone-crushing noodles. Look at how happy he was eating it. Am I being cruel? Yu Yang's foot heavily stepped on the unconscious Su Xian's chest, causing his sternum to creak. Su Xian's mouth and nose were bleeding profusely, looking like he was going to die at any time. Gentler, gentler. Yi Kong took out the cheapest medical stone from his bosom and crushed it, letting the white light of the medical treatment sprinkle onto Su Xian's body. He had bought this before he went to Yulong Valley, and he couldn't bear to use it when he was injured. He really didn't expect that the medical stone would be used on this guy, who he really wanted to chop into 18 pieces and feed to the wild dogs. Yi Kong was really afraid that this Yu clan third young master would trample Su Xian to death, because if Su Xian died, he would be expelled from Tong Tian Tower. At that time, not only would he be restricted for 10 years, he would also leave behind the unconscious Yu Bing. With just himself and the heavily injured Li clan brothers, how would they be able to escort Yu Bing out safely? So no matter what, this Su Xian must not die. Actually, Yi Kong didn't know that Yu Yang's control of the strength under his feet was very ingenious. He could break Su Xian's bones and meridians, but not really kill him. In other words, it was easy for Su Xian to die, but without Yu Yang's consent, it would be hard for him to die. The mercenaries saw that the demon man with shocking brute force was also ruthless in his words and actions. Evil people needed evil people to deal with them. These arrogant students met this demon man. It could be said that they met their nemesis. Yi Kong, help me look after Yu Bing. I'm very happy to see these good friends. I'm going to invite them to dinner. Hui Tai Lang, wait here. I'll reward you with a few bones later. Yu Yang carefully put down Yu Bing and handed her over to Yi Kong and Hui Tai Lang to look after her, while he himself quickly walked forward. He didn't care who was in front of him, since they provoked him. If he couldn't kill them instantly, then he would torture them to death. Otherwise, they would really think that he was trash that everyone could bully. Slurp, slurp. Hui Tai Lang didn't wait for Yu Yang's orders and directly licked the fresh blood on the ground. If it wasn't for Yi Kong stopping it for fear that it would blame Yu Yang for killing Su Xian, it would have already started gnawing on Su Xian's thigh. Prepare for battle, team battle, defend against the enemy together. If it was a one-on-one battle, Shen Tu Hao wasn't very confident. After all, this Yu clan trash's aura was too fierce. It was too different from the rumors. His murderous demonic appearance made people's hearts turn cold. However, if it was a team battle with the remaining 7 people's strength surrounding this Yu clan trash, it would be a different story. No matter how strong his brute force was, how could he fight against more than 10 beasts? The only thing that made people a little afraid was that level 4 ironback demonic wolf, but it wasn't a contracted beast. As long as it joined the battle, then he could take the opportunity to use a contract scroll to subdue it and make it his contracted beast. At that time, he boom, 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 boom. Just as Shen Tu Hao was secretly feeling pleased with himself, a deafening sound rang out. Raising his head to look, he discovered that all his companions didn't even have the time to summon their beasts before they were beaten to the ground by that Yu clan trash. Every one of them had their teeth broken and blood splashed out from their mouths. Even the Lin brothers, who had the fastest summoning speed, had only just taken out their summoning crystals when they were already beaten down. Yu Yang raised his leg high, and under the Lin brothers' despairing gazes, He heavily stomped down, mercilessly breaking their arms while they were still alive. Look at how good I am to you guys. I was afraid that treating you guys to 5 fingers flat cake and heart-hammering cornbread wasn't enough, so I even treated you guys to soul broken bone noodles. Tell me, where else can you find such a generous friend like me? I'll have to trouble you guys to wait for a while. I'll go and greet this. Shintu? Ah, so your brother Shintu's day. I've long heard of brother Shintu's great name. I really admire brother Shintu's behavior of calling prostitutes without paying. This is a heroic act and also a role model for my generation to learn from. Brother Shintu, I've heard that there's a type of brain juice mixed with blood wine that is extremely nutritious. I don't know if you've tried it before. Come, I'll treat you to a drink immediately. Since we were fated to meet today, we'll drink until we're drunk. Yu Yang's face revealed an exceptionally sincere smile. If one only looked at his radiant smile, then everyone would feel that he was a heartwarming and worthy friend. However, if they looked at the ground that was splattered with fresh blood and those elite students who were in so much pain that they wished they were dead, everyone would feel extremely cold, of course. There was also a very refreshing excitement. Evil people needed evil people to deal with them. These arrogant and shameless elite students had finally met their nemesis. Chapter 61. Shin Tuhao's forehead was covered in sweat. He nervously swallowed a mouthful of saliva and forced himself to calm down. You are indeed very strong, far different from the rumors. However, if you think that you can definitely win against me, you are wrong. I am different from them. I am the true elite of the academy. He first let the bronze-ranked level 3 Manicore guard in front of him to prevent Yu Yang's sneak attack, and then summoned a black armored warrior. A large amount of black light emerged from the feet of the black armored warrior, and finally turned into black smoke. It floated lightly, and, as if it had a life of its own, it enveloped Shin Tuhao's body. The black armored warrior also hugged Shin Tuhao. Very quickly, within 3 seconds, the black armored warrior disappeared, and the surface of Shin Tuhao's body was covered with a thick layer of black battle armor. Even his face and eyes were protected behind the thick and heavy battle armor. Those who were familiar with Shin Tuhao knew that this was one of the Shin Tu clan's world-famous beasts, the black armored warrior. It belonged to the strengthening-type beast, and when it was summoned, it could increase its master's attack power by 5 times and defense by 10 times for an hour. Its powerful defense was even stronger than the stone skin and iron skin type of beasts. This is Black Armored Warrior. A sharp-eyed warrior was the first to recognize it. Heavens, this battle looks like it's going to be tough. The surrounding warriors realized that the battle situation was out of their expectations. Strengthening-type beasts like the Black Armored Warrior were very rare. To be able to summon an armor to protect its master, it had to be at least level 3, which was even rarer. In the eyes of the mercenaries, this arrogant party leader, Shin Tu, really did have the ability to be arrogant. This party leader, Shin Tu, not only had a bronze-ranked level 3 strong beast Manicore, he also had a strengthening-type beast Black Armored Warrior that was not inferior to the Manicore. With the two combined, the strength was not as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. If that young man with astonishing brute force and outstanding battle skills also had a contracted beast and let it restrain the Manicore, the pressure would be much lighter. Right now, just relying on battle skills to fight against 2 strong summoned beasts was really a bit strenuous. Be careful. The Black Warrior is a type of strengthened beast that can transform into armor. Not only can it increase the main body's battle strength, it can also evolve in battle, changing the shape of the armor, forming bone spikes that can counterattack. Yi Kong was afraid that Yu Yang did not understand beasts and would be at a disadvantage when fighting with Shin Tuhao, and hurriedly warned him loudly. Without a beast, just relying on battle skills is useless. No matter how strong your battle skills are, you can only be a coolie mercenary at most. Shin Tuhao was most afraid that Yu Yang would launch a sneak attack on him during the summoning process. Just now, Yu Yang's super fast attack speed had given him a huge fright. However, he realized that Yu Yang did not step forward and was waiting quietly for him to complete the summoning. Instantly, he regained his confidence. He looked at Yu Yang, standing there quietly, and thought that he had calmed Yu Yang down. He couldn't help but let out an arrogant laugh. Do you think this is the end? No, this is just the beginning. Shen Tuhao proudly took out a jet-black, shiny crystal from his bosom and shook it in front of Yu Yang, his voice full of ridicule. You, do you know what this is? Sharp-bladed puppet, a product of the Yu clan. Following Shen Tuhao's summoning, the light from the crystal flashed, and a metal puppet that was more than 4 meters tall was summoned by him. The metal puppet's mechanical arms were abnormally thick, and on each arm's pulley there were 3 sharp blades. Below it were barrel-type rollers covered with spikes. When everyone saw this metal puppet appear, they all broke out in cold sweat for Yu Yang in their hearts. With the help of this sharp-bladed puppet with terrifying attack power, it would be hard for this young Master Shen Tu to lose even if he wanted to. After that, although the battle did not start, everyone knew what kind of tactics Shen Tuhao would use. The sharp-bladed puppet would be the main attack, the Manticore would be the sneak attack, and Shen Tuhao, who had the Black Warrior's protection, would only need to continuously defend, and he would be able to tire his opponent to death, obtaining the final victory. Do you see that? This is the difference between me and you. It is also the difference between heaven and trash. Shen Tuhao arrogantly waved his hand, and the rollers below the sharp-bladed puppet immediately rolled towards Yu Yang. The 6 blades on its wrist started to rotate at high speed, forming 2 terrifying cutting blade circles on the left and right. As long as it lightly touched him, he believed that his limbs would be broken and his body crippled. Yikong's heart sank. He was very anxious. He had a body full of battle experience, but because he had lost his beast, he was of no help to the battle situation at all. It was not that there was no way to fight against the valiant sharp-bladed puppet. The best way was to destroy its wrist joints. As long as it lost the 6 blades that were rotating at high speed, this puppet would just be a decoration. However, Yikong did not have a beast. Rushing forward would only be throwing his life away. He could only watch anxiously as Yu Yang fought. He did not know if Yu Yang had done any research on puppet techniques. If this Yu clan's 3rd young master had not done any research on puppet techniques at all, and had only focused on training his battle skills, then he would be in danger. A Yu clan disciple was defeated by a puppet beast made by the Yu clan. This was really a bitter irony. Yu Yang did not dodge, and stared blankly at the sharp-bladed puppet rolling towards him. Wah! The mercenaries all clenched their fists tightly. They really could not bear to see the tragic scene of flesh and blood flying everywhere. Why didn't he dodge? Everyone did not understand. Could it be that this brute force young man was scared silly? As a victorious smile appeared on Shen Tuhao's lips, Yu Yang suddenly leapt into the air lightly. His legs landed lightly on the sharp-bladed puppet's shoulders. The sharp-bladed puppet's reaction was extremely fast and immediately twisted its arms unbelievably. 1 left and 1 right. The cutting blade circles sliced towards Yu Yang's legs at high speed. Yu Yang did not stop. He somersaulted agilely like a swallow, jumped up, and landed on the ground. Behind him, sparks from the cutting of metal shot out. After a series of ear-piercing cutting sounds that made people feel uncomfortable, a few broken blades bounced up one after another, flying high into the sky. The sharp-bladed puppet, which had suffered 2 deep wounds on its neck, suddenly fell a few times. Sparks of electricity crackled on its body, and then with a rumble, it fell in front of Yu Yang. A metal head broke off from its neck, rolling to Yu Yang's feet. As if he was playing with a toy, Yu Yang casually stepped on the sharp-bladed puppet's metal head that was severely deformed and crackling with sparks. He showed a disappointed expression. Is this what a genius looks like? Using the Yu clan's puppet to deal with a Yu clan disciple? The person who came up with this idea, is he really a genius? Is he really an elite from an academy? All right, if this is considered a genius, then I'd rather be called trash by others. Yikong was so excited that he almost fainted. A sharp-bladed puppet that was impossible for a normal warrior to defeat, in front of this Yu clan's 3rd young master who was called trash by the world, was simply a joke. Good. The mercenaries also excitedly waved their fists, cheering for Yu Yang. Although everyone knew that destroying the puppet's head and destroying the puppet's array was the smartest way to deal with puppet beasts, almost no one could do this. However, almost no one could do this. Everyone who encountered a puppet beast could only use the stupidest method, which was to continuously run away. No one dared to take the risk of approaching it. The puppet beast's attack power was extremely ferocious. As long as one was hit by it, one's life would be over. This was not the first time they saw a warrior destroying the puppet beast's head. On the contrary, they had seen all kinds of methods, but they had never seen a method that was simpler and more effective than the one just now. When they saw the mocking expression on Yu Yang's face, they couldn't help but feel a warmth in their hearts. They couldn't help but clap and cheer for this brat. He was really too arrogant and too cool. He could play with the enemy in the palm of his hand without using any strength at all. What was this? This brat wasn't playing with battle skills, but art. Cool. If there was a word to describe the unsuppressible excitement in everyone's hearts, it would be cool. Who knew how long it had been since they had seen such a cool battle? The ashen-faced Shun Tu Hao stared dumbfoundedly for a long time before he recovered from his shocked state. He shouted in panic, "Do you think you could defeat me like this? I admit that summoning the sharp-bladed puppet in front of you was a small mistake, but let me tell you, my strength is definitely not just this." Yu Yang nodded, took out a copper coin, and threw it in front of Shun Tu Hao. "Clown, slowly perform. This young master is very happy watching. This is your reward." Chapter 62. Shun Tu Hao was so angry that he almost vomited blood. His face contorted as he roared, "I will kill you. It's always nice to dream." Yu Yang shrugged his shoulders and turned to leave. "Hui Tai Lang, play with this clown for a while. Although this clown is a bit weak, he still knows how to be funny." Hui Tai Lang heard this and immediately became spirited. He howled toward the sky and flew towards the manticore. Although the bronze-ranked level 3 manticore was one level lower than Hui Tai Lang, under Shun Tu Hao's command, it roared fearlessly and charged towards Hui Tai Lang. Its bloody mouth fiercely bit towards Hui Tai Lang's hind legs. If it was not a contracted beast, it would definitely choose to attack Hui Tai Lang's throat. With its speed, biting the ironback demonic wolf that was one level higher than itself and was known for its agility, the difficulty was not small. But Shun Tu Hao had fought for a long time and was very familiar with the weaknesses of various beasts. He had also learnt techniques to deal with agile beasts like wolves, dogs, and foxes. 1 throat, 2 spine, 3 hind legs. If he wanted to use a lion, tiger, or leopard-type beast that relied on explosive power to kill a wolf, dog, or fox that was known for its agility and speed, he had to find its biggest weakness to launch a surprise attack or destroy its specialty. If he could not bite the ironback demonic wolf's throat, its back was no longer a weakness, so he had to choose to destroy its specialty and cripple its claws. Otherwise, with Hui Tai Lang's agility, the manticore that was one level lower would only be exhausted to death. Shun Tu Hao had confidence in the manticore because Hui Tai Lang was not a contracted beast. No matter how smart it was, it only had its instincts. Without a master's command, even if it was one level higher than a manticore, it would not be able to defeat the manticore that had its own mental command. In Shangjing Academy, there was a famous saying, "Only contracted beasts can be called beasts, otherwise they're called wild beasts." Hui Tai Lang twisted its body in midair, dodging the manticore's sharp teeth. The moment it landed, it quickly leapt back and clawed at the manticore's mouth that it could not retract in time. Blood splashed. When a manticore angrily chased after it, Hui Tai Lang had already leapt into the air and agilely dodged the manticore's attack. Just as the manticore turned around to attack, Hui Tai Lang's sharp claws scratched the manticore's buttocks, leaving behind several bloody marks. The mercenaries were drooling as they watched. As expected of a bronze-ranked level 4 ironback demonic wolf, although he was only one level higher, he was able to ignore the difference in size and beat the bronze-ranked level 3 manticore to the point where it couldn't even tell north from south. This was still relying on its instincts to fight. If it was contracted and had a master to command it, wouldn't its combat strength increase by several times? It would be great if he could contract an iron-backed demonic wolf. Unfortunately, bronze-ranked beasts couldn't be casually contracted, let alone a level 2 brave man. Even a level 3 hero would have a hard time contracting one. Right now, this iron-backed demonic wolf was bronze-ranked level 4. It seemed that one would need at least a level 4 hero to be able to contract it. Gray Wolf, you idiot. What's the use of randomly grabbing at me? The manticore skin was thick and its flesh was thick. How long would it take to fight like this? You should have bitten its balls and burst its chrysanthemum. Do you know what a vital point is? Yu Yang shouted loudly, causing everyone to break out in cold sweat. Biting the eggs and bursting the anus? As long as everyone thought of this kind of tactic, they would feel a chill in their pants, although they didn't want to admit it. But if this kind of tactic succeeded, it would undoubtedly be the most painful and disastrous blow to the enemy. Yu Yang originally didn't want to let Gray Wolf fight. He wanted to rush up himself and beat Shin Tu out of the ground with a few punches. He wanted to beat this bastard to the point where he had to look for his teeth all over the floor. Then he would use his feet to fiercely step on him, turning all the bones in his body into a pile of dregs. Then he would untie his belt and pee on him. Finally, he would make Shin Tu Hao kneel in front of him like a dog, lick his shoes, and kowtow to him while crying and begging for mercy. However, he noticed that there was one more person at the side of the arena. It was the beautiful city mistress Fallen Flowers. She was secretly observing him, looking like a curious little baby. Other than her, there was another person. This person had an ordinary appearance. If he was thrown into a crowd, even if you walked in front of him 100 times, you wouldn't be able to recognize him. Under Yu Yang's divine vision, he discovered that this person was rather strong. Just based on energy alone, this guy could give him a feeling of being a crane in a flock of chickens among a large group of mercenary warriors. He was only below the dangerous city mistress Fallen Flowers, the embroidered clothed beauty. On the surface, this person was dressed like a normal mercenary, with no special characteristics at all. Yu Yang didn't notice his existence at the start. It was only when he jumped lightly before destroying the sharp-bladed puppet's head that a ray of light flashed in this person's eyes, revealing his identity as a strong warrior. What made Yu Yang most vigilant was that this person was holding an extremely strange hexagonal crystal in his hand. He aimed it at the battlefield, as if he was recording the entire process. This person's actions made Yu Yang's heart calm down. Of course, he had to teach Shin Tu Hao a lesson, but he definitely couldn't expose the secret that he was a newly advanced innate ranker. Hence, Yu Yang thought of a poisonous plan. He wanted to give everyone here a misconception, and let those fellows who thought themselves to be smart follow the illusion that he had laid out, and never suspect that he was an innate ranker in the future. Hence, he sent Hui Tai Lang up first to fight against Shin Tu Hao's manticore. Be careful. Shin Tu Hao might use the contract scroll when Hui Tai Lang is injured. A seriously injured beast spirit is dispirited, and its willpower is weak. It's very easy for the opponent to sign a contract with it. Yi Kong rushed to Yu Yang's side and hurriedly reminded him in a low voice. However, when he saw Yu Yang's faint smiling eyes, he knew that his worries were unnecessary. Pausing for a while, he continued, I'm thinking why Shin Tu Hao is so against Yu Bing. Maybe it's because of competition. The Shin Tu family also has a very talented little girl, who is about the same age as Yu Bing. She's also a target of the Northern Moon Fairy Pavilion's evaluation, and is a candidate to become an honorary disciple. If Shin Tu Hao suppresses Yu Bing, then the Northern Moon Fairy Pavilion will definitely choose his sister first. So it's like that. When Yu Yang heard this, he understood a little. Why would Shin Tu Hao invite Yu Bing to Tong Tian Tower so enthusiastically? So it was because he wanted to destroy Yu Bing with his own hands, so that she could not improve. After she entered Tong Tian Tower, not only did she fail in the trials, her strength had also greatly decreased. Shin Tu Hao dared to suppress Yu Bing so openly. He believed that it was related to the Yin clan, one of the four great clans, supporting him from behind, right? The Yin clan had always wanted to surpass the Yu clan. For a genius girl like Yu Bing, the Yin clan would not let go of the chance to suppress her. As for Yu Yin, Yu Yang did not rule out the possibility that this fellow was colluding with the enemy. Yu Yang's heart was burning with anger, but the smile on his lips became even wider. Wasn't it just playing a little bit of tricks? Who wouldn't? In this game of family competition, which was full of open and secret struggles, let's see who would destroy who. Let's see who would have the last laugh. Sweeping his gaze across the expert, hiding in the crowd, Yu Yang took off his shirt and tore it into strips of cloth. Then he wrapped the unconscious Yu Bing up. This action made everyone, including Yi Kong, confused. Wrapping Yu Bing up with strips of cloth. What was the meaning of this? Yi Kong scratched his head in confusion. Everyone who was paying attention to Yu Yang also frowned. Normally, this brat would not do anything useless. Why did he not care about the battle between Hui Tai Lang and the Manticore, and did such a useless action? What was the use of tearing his clothes into strips and wrapping his sister up? Anyone with a bit of brains would not think that this was a casual action. This brute force brat must be plotting something. The problem was that no one could guess what his plot was. This was the most troublesome part. In the arena, the battle continued. On Hui Tai Lang's body, several bloody wounds appeared. These were caused by the Manticore's claws. No matter how fast it was, without the consciousness of its master, it could not dodge all the attacks by relying on its instincts. However, in comparison, the Manticore, which was one level lower, was in a much more sorry state. The Manticore was now covered in wounds, dripping with blood. Although there was not a single fatal wound, its battle strength had already begun to be affected and was gradually weakening. Even a blind person could see that the Manticore, which was one level lower, was not Hui Tai Lang's opponent. A normal level 1 lion might be able to defeat a level 2 wolf, but a level 3 lion would not be able to defeat a level 4 wolf. Among high-level beasts, even if there was only a difference of one level, the difference in strength would be at least a few times. Not to mention, the difference in strength between bronze-ranked elite beasts was even greater. Therefore, even if the bronze-ranked level 3 Manticore had a master to command it, it was not strange that it could not defeat the uncontracted and uncommanded Hui Tai Lang. Scorpion Tail Hook. Shun Tu Hao did not panic, as if he had already expected this result. He laughed coldly and commanded the Manticore to use its final move, Scorpion Tail. That Scorpion Tail had not attacked at all. After Shin Tu Hao gave the order to attack, the Manticore, which had already prepared for a long time, pounced. The Scorpion Tail streaked through the air as fast as lightning, accurately piercing into Hui Tai Lang's lower abdomen. Hui Tai Lang rolled over, dodging the Scorpion Tail hook. Instead, it allowed the Scorpion Tail to circle around its body. Taking advantage of the situation, its sharp teeth bit into the base of the Manticore's Scorpion Tail, biting it tightly and refusing to let go. With its weak point attacked, the Manticore immediately howled miserably. The long Scorpion Tail swung wildly, but Hui Tai Lang still refused to let go. Shin Tu Hao's face did not reveal any expression of pain, but instead had a strange fanaticism as he ordered the Manticore to escape. Hui Tai Lang used its mouth to tear the entire Scorpion Tail off. The Manticore painfully escaped back to Shin Tu Hao's side, wailing incessantly. However, Shin Tu Hao did not comfort it. Instead, he took out an exquisite rune scroll from his bosom and opened it. A bright white light shone and enveloped Hui Tai Lang. "Good child, now you are mine. Come, I'm not that trash. He can't contract such a good demon wolf like you. I'm different. I'm a high-level hero. Come, sign a contract with me." Yi Kong panicked, but he realized that Yu Yang did not move and only looked at him coldly. He almost fainted. He knew that Yu Yang did not like Hui Tai Lang and had beaten and kicked it. However, he could not let Shin Tu Hao contract Hui Tai Lang now. Hui Tai Lang was not only a bronze-ranked level 4 ironback demon wolf, it was also tamed. This was a 1 in a million good beast. However, what Yikong did not know was that the balance point and evolution point of Hui Tai Lang's demonic chi lay in Yu Yang's innate chi. Even if it died, it would not leave Yu Yang. Good child, my precious baby, come. Shen Tuhao continued to tempt Hui Tai Lang. Hui Tai Lang's eyes seemed to be blurred as it staggered towards Shen Tuhao. Yikong almost fainted as he watched. Yet, it was as if Yu Yang had been petrified. His body did not move at all. Just when everyone was feeling anxious for Yu Yang, Hui Tai Lang suddenly moved. Like a whirlwind, it had already pounced into Shen Tuhao's embrace. Its dense and sharp teeth fiercely bit down, biting towards the contract scroll in Shen Tuhao's hands. That contract scroll exploded with a boom. Shen Tuhao's contract failed, the scroll was destroyed, and at the same time, Hui Tai Lang's mental attack caused him to immediately hold his head in pain and could not help but scream. The armored black samurai on his body, because of its master's mental weakening, was cut off and immediately separated. It could no longer maintain its strengthened state with its master. Before the black samurai could return to the crystal, a long spear had already pierced through like a thunderbolt, piercing into the black hole in the black samurai's eye socket like a hot knife through butter. The black samurai did not have a physical body. It was only a spirit wearing an armor. After receiving such a fatal blow, it immediately became like a deflated balloon, countless black gas gushing out from its mouth and nose. In the end, its body exploded with a boom. The black samurai was killed on the spot. A few pieces of broken armor fell to the ground with a clang. There was only one moment when strengthening-type beasts were at their weakest, and that was the moment when they were separated from their master. If they were to receive a heavy injury at that moment, they would definitely die. Although Yu Yang was not familiar with the basics of beasts, he had seen this kind of record more than once in the Pitiful Guy's parents' notebook. In fact, this kind of battle technique was also the Pitiful Guy's father's favorite technique to break the enemy. Shen Tuhao's black samurai's body exploded on the spot. Its mind was heavily injured. With another miserable howl, its body swayed and almost fell to the ground. The two summoning crystals in his hands had shattered into pieces. When he once again looked at his Manticore in despair, he discovered that Hui Tai Lang was currently biting the Manticore's throat, and the long spear that had instantly killed the black samurai was now deeply stabbed into the Manticore's anus, causing a super big anus explosion. Young Master Shun Tu, how does it feel to turn from a genius to a cripple in an instant? Isn't it great? I know you feel great. You who are born to be abused, there's no reason for you not to feel like dying right now. Young Master Shin Tu, don't you have a lot of beasts? Let me tell you, in the future, if you have a beast, I will instantly kill it. I believe that you will definitely be very satisfied with this kind of beautiful life that never sees the light of day. Yi Kong, Li Chia, Li Go, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and serve young Master Shun Tu. Yu Yang retracted his spear, and a long spear that was stained with a Manticore's blood and intestines swept across Shun Tuhao's face. Immediately, Shun Tuhao's teeth shattered and blood splattered everywhere. Shen Tuhao did not even have the time to scream. On the other side, Yi Kong, Li Chia, and Li Gu, who were covered in wounds, pounced forward like mad dogs, beating and kicking Shen Tuhao, who was lying on the ground. When everyone recovered from their shock, Shen Tuhao had already become a bloody man covered in cuts and bruises. The ordinary-looking expert finally moved. The first thing he did was not to save Shen Tuhao, but to kidnap Yu Bing. As if he had been waiting for thousands of years, Yu Yang changed from motionlessness to extreme speed, flying across the vast sky. Using the extremely ordinary spear in his hands that had instantly killed the black samurai and the Manticore, like thunder from the ninth heaven, it pierced upwards, piercing towards the area between the legs of the expert who was about to kidnap Yu Bing. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Obediently offer up your anus. When Yu Yang said this, everyone fell to the ground. Chapter 63. In that instant, that extremely ordinary-looking expert with hidden strength realized that he had made a few mistakes. The first was that he had misjudged the situation. He thought that he had concealed himself well, but he did not expect that the opponent had already discovered him secretly. The second was that he had misjudged the opponent's reaction speed. Or in other words, the opponent's target was him, and not Shintu Hao and the other students. This despicable and shameless young man with shocking brute force had already set up a trap and was waiting for him to fall into it. The third was that he had misjudged the opponent's eyesight. His biggest weakness was his lower body, and the opponent's target was to attack his lower body. This was definitely not a coincidence, but the opponent had completely seen through his weakness. Summoning Grimoire. The danger of death exploded in the ordinary man's heart. He did not care about attacking Yu Bing in front of him, and shouted loudly. In an instant, a silver grimoire appeared out of thin air, and at the same time, an orange light shot out. A circular light barrier quickly spread out, protecting his body. The ordinary spear that had pierced into his lower body had turned into fine powder under the light barrier spreading. Even so, this ordinary-looking expert with hidden strength still painfully knelt on the ground, clutching his lower body. He was in so much pain that he was hovering between life and death. Although Yu Yang's spear attack, just now, was not able to kill the opponent instantly, it had severely injured the opponent's lower body. With his divine eye, he could see that the greatest weakness of this ordinary-looking expert was his lower body. There was something strange about this person's body. Yu Yang's current divine vision inherent skill could not see what this strange thing was, but Yu Yang could see that the opponent's biggest weakness was his lower body. There seemed to be an energy core there, and with just a light attack, it could cause a huge damage. The facts also proved that Yu Yang's judgment was not wrong. If this guy was not an expert with a summoning grimoire, and had a light barrier protecting his body, he would have fallen under Yu Yang's spear long ago. Yu Yang secretly sighed. He did not expect this guy to be a grimoire contractor, and his surprise attack was not 100% successful. Yu Yang was concerned about Yu Bing's safety. When the enemy was clutching his lower body and groaning in pain, he quickly flashed to the side of Yu Bing and bent down to carry her on his back. The shirt that had been torn into strips of cloth came in handy now. Yu Yang bent down and firmly tied Yu Bing's soft body to his back. The mercenaries were dazzled by his actions. They suddenly realized that this brat had a plan to carry his sister and escape from the beginning. No wonder he made such an unpredictable move. Yi Kong, Li Chia, Li Go, what are you waiting for? Let's go. Yu Yang shouted and rushed out of the crowd. He snatched a spear from a dumbfounded mercenary. Yi Kong and the others were stunned at first, but they suddenly realized that the crotch-covering expert had pressed his hand on his grimoire and summoned a dark red teleportation door. They could not help but feel their scalps go numb, scared out of their wits. Heavens, this ordinary-looking crotch-covering expert was actually a demon worshipper. He was summoning the demon's gate. Don't panic, everyone retreat. The face of the embroidered clothed city mistress Fallen Flowers changed. Her pale golden eyebrows slightly furrowed. With a point of her jade-like hand, a gold grimoire that was twice the size of a bronze grimoire was summoned. A golden barrier surrounded her beautiful body like a golden vase, faintly seeming to have substance. At this moment, the three-tailed snow fox under her feet had expanded 10 times, turning into an extremely seductive six-tailed fox spirit. Its 6 tails moved even though there was no wind. It was incomparably beautiful, as if it was dancing gracefully like a willow in the wind. Inside the dark red demon's gate, countless monsters ran out. There was an endless number of them. When a mercenary saw this, other than a few skilled and courageous mercenaries who dared to stay, the others were so scared that they screamed and ran away. Inside the Devil's Gate, monsters surged out like a tidal wave. Some were big and some were small. Some had yellow skin, some had green skin, some had sharp fangs, some had sharp claws, some had small bodies, some had fireballs in their hands, some had twisted horns and crimson eyes, some had huge bodies like mountains of flesh at this time. Yang was also dumbfounded. He did not think that there would be such consequences. Before Yu Yang attacked the crotch-covering expert, he instinctively felt that the ordinary-looking guy who had been secretly taking pictures of him had an indescribable danger. However, He really did not think that this guy could summon a demon's gate that could release evil spirits from hell. Now, if he did not quickly destroy the teleportation door and let Demon King Ha-Xian escape, he would be finished. Of course, Yu Yang, who had just crossed over to the soaring dragon continent for a few months, did not know how strict the conditions to summon a Demon King of Hell were. That would require the sacrifice of 100 lives in addition to the summoner's life. A normal demon's gate could only summon evil spirits whose battle power was below level 5 and could not summon a Demon King of Hell. That night, if Xiehua had not been forced by Yu Yang to the point that he had no other choice, he would definitely not have sacrificed his own life to summon Demon King Ha-Xian. What do we do now? Yi Kong, who had escaped to Yu Yang's side, was so scared that his teeth were chattering. Countless evil spirits surged out from the demon's gate, pouncing towards the mercenaries who were watching from the sidelines. A small number of mercenaries who could not escape in time were pounced on by the tide-like monsters and torn to pieces. Seeing that the situation was not good, the mercenaries who were running away all pulled out their weapons or summoned their beasts in order to protect themselves, fighting against the evil spirits that were chasing after them. However, other than an extremely small number of mercenary warriors who could barely hold on, the weaker mercenaries fell into a disadvantageous position in the blink of an eye. Especially those who were surrounded by evil spirits. They were on the verge of death. City Mistress Fallen Flowers, who was dressed in embroidered clothes, raised her lily-white hand and summoned a golden scepter. As soon as this golden scepter was inserted into the ground, a golden light wave spread from the scepter at an extremely fast speed, covering an area of 100 meters. The evil spirits that were within the range of the golden light wave all screamed in pain. The weakest yellow-skinned and green-skinned monsters fell to the ground in the golden light, unable to get up. However, the human warriors felt their whole bodies full of energy, as if there was a burst of power bursting out from the depths of their bodies. They could not help but shout excitedly, "Ha! King's order!" Yu Yang discovered that the embroidered clothed beauty, City Mistress Fallen Flowers, had taken out another golden badge and summoned a burst of white light. In an instant, a white halo appeared under everyone's feet. Although his estimation was not necessarily very accurate, Yu Yang felt that his body had at least doubled in strength. His physical strength and senses were all greatly enhanced under the blessing of the white halo. Once the king's order is out, everyone must fight the devil, or else they will be punished as deserters. The embroidered clothed beauty's delicate voice made the hearts of all the mercenaries tremble. She turned her face and said to Yu Yang, "Little thief, you hold that devil worshipper for only 2 minutes. I will destroy this devil's portal." Great Judgment Summon, Aurora. A small ball of light appeared in the hand of the embroidered clothed beauty, City Mistress Fallen Flowers. After it merged with her delicate body, it caused her whole body to surge with a burst of cold white light. Then, all the white light condensed in the palm of her right hand. If this energy burst out, Yu Yang believed that its power would be comparable to Demon King Ha-Xian's green light. However, compared to Demon King Ha-Xian, this embroidered clothed beauty called City Mistress Fallen Flowers took too long to condense. Moreover, it was rather strenuous for her to condense it, unlike Demon King Ha-Xian, who could release it at will. The long spear in Yu Yang's hand spun, killing a few evil spirits that pounced towards him. Carrying the unconscious Yu Bing on his back, he flew towards a crotch-covering expert who was enduring the pain and stood up. This ordinary-looking crotch-covering expert endured the pain and summoned a monster that was covered in thick smoke. When Yi Kong saw it, he immediately shouted. He wants to use the smoke monster to spread smoke and cause a large number of human deaths. He is preparing to use human blood as a sacrifice. Quickly kill that smoke monster, the method. That's right. The method to deal with the smoke monster is to find a location of the smoke monster's crystal and destroy it. Yu Yang did not know what smoke monster was. To him, this thing was a relatively unfamiliar demon abyss creature. However, with his divine vision, the smoke monster's weakness could not be hidden. Actually, earlier, when he stabbed the crotch-covering expert's lower body, it was not because he liked to attack vulgarly, but to attack the monster's weakness. There was a summoned beast on the crotch-covering expert's body. Yu Yang judged that the summoned beast was a special type shape-shifting summoned beast based on the crotch-covering expert's appearance and body shape. It disguised the crotch-covering expert as an ordinary-looking mercenary, covering up the fact that he was a demon worshipper. However, when Yu Yang shot the special type shape-shifting beast's crystal core hidden in its owner's lower body, the crotch-covering expert misunderstood that Yu Yang had seen through his identity as a demon worshipper. Immediately, he desperately summoned the Devil's Gate. The six-tailed fox spirit was even faster than Yu Yang. With a wave of its six tails, it emitted a wonderful fragrance that seeped into one's lungs. The smoke monster, which was not afraid of physical attacks, screamed in pain and rolled around in the fragrance. Its body was extremely condensed, and in the end, only a cloud of smoke and a black pearl were left. Before Yu Yang could capture it, the greedy Huitai Lang had already opened its mouth and swallowed the smoke monster whole, then gulped it down as if it was eating a tonic. F*CK, you lowly dog, you eat everything. Do you know how much this magic crystal can be sold for? Yu Yang was furious and kicked Huitai Lang a few meters away. Oh woo! Huitai Lang crawled up and ran back to Yu Yang's feet, wagging its tail fiercely. Scram further away. I get annoyed just by looking at you. Yu Yang did not fall for its trick. Little thief, as the saying goes, it is impolite not to reciprocate. The demons from the abyss have invaded our human territory, so we have to retaliate. Do you dare to follow me and attack the abyss? Although your combat skills are not of much help at the moment, as an elite human, you should follow me to the abyss to gain experience and train your courage. Do you dare to attack the abyss with me? City Mistress Fallen Flowers, who was dressed in embroidered clothes, had finally finished condensing her energy. There was a huge ball of light with terrifying power in her palm. As long as she shot it out, she believed that all the enemies in a straight line would be turned into ashes by her. Attack the abyss. A drop of cold sweat appeared on Yu Yang's forehead. Who said that demons were the crazy ones? Humans were even crazier than demons. How could they do something as dangerous as attacking the abyss? Let's not talk about whether they would meet the Demon King of Hell. What if the teleportation gate disappeared and they couldn't return? You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.